Welcome back to Burning Yammer, a podcast about Japanese pro wrestling. But this week, first of all, I'm Bert.
I'm Anthony, and we're doing a change of pace, everybody.
That's right. Yeah. That's right, Anthony. This week, we are reviewing the most stupendous the most stupendous two-night WrestleMania event in the world's history of the world, WrestleMania 38, featuring the biggest match of all time, winner takes all, title unification.
Wrestling is back, baby.
Yes.
Wrestling's back.
Wrestling. Yes. So, last match. I'm sorry. I've just had so much enjoyment and so many great things have happened.
We watched it all in one sitting. Can you believe it? It's so good.
Yeah. I haven't got up yet because I'm afraid to get up, because I feel like if I feel again, then I may just fall over and never feel ever again. So I have to
fall over because all the wrestling was so good. Am I right? Oh God.
Well, of course.
Everything was just so great. It was stupendous. They chose the right word.
They did choose the right word. That is true. They chose the exact right word for the situation, which is, of course, stupendous, because it was stupendous. And now, Anthony, did we see the pre-show to night one of WrestleMania 38?
Unfortunately, and this shames me, we weren't able to see the pre-show.
Sadly.
Night one.
Sadly, we did not.
I heard that Booker T did the Shucky Ducky.
He did do the Shucky Ducky, and I believe Titus O'Neil was also there as well.
God, Titus Worldwide? God,
yeah.
Can you believe
millions of dollars. Fuck. But the reason we missed the pre-show, I was out having a Snickers because I was very hungry, and when that's the secret, I think, is usually when we review AJPW shows, I'm starving, and so I'm very mad at, for example, Dustin Rhodes or
Randy Rose,
Nikita Koloff, really any white guy. I just get mad because I'm racist. And that's the thing. I think that's why the slogan used to be, racist, grab a Snickers. And now they've changed it to hungry, grab a Snickers.
Ever since Martin Short was on that Snickers commercial and he did blackface.
Right.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. For Clifford, I think, way back in the day. But the point is I had to eat a little bit for 2 hours, so I missed the kickoff show. It was a lot of Snickers. I was very angry. I had
an entire pile of Snickers because I saw the advertisement and I knew that I had to support my company, WWE. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of, before we get into the review, I should say, that's really the secret, I think. If you're one of those bitter, jaded internet community trolls who always poo-poos, you're just hungry and racist, and you should just eat more Snickers bars. And
you can cure the hunger, you can't cure your racism, but you could at least have a Snickers and support my company, WWE.
Yes, but while I heard many, many, many things happened on the pre-show, many things of vast import, we have to jump directly into the show, because otherwise this could go on very long. And don't worry, folks at home, this will go on very long because we have so much to talk about. So many events.
So much to talk about. My goodness.
So much to talk about.
Can you believe that they started off the show, night one of the most stupendous event, with a beautiful rendition of America the Beautiful by Gantley Bilbert.
That's right.
That's my favorite country singer. I like country, even though it's racist. We have to support it, though.
Well, he just hadn't had his Snickers yet, but and then he would graduate into, ba with da ba and new metal music like most of us do. But I agree with you. The minute they said I was like, oh, Gantley Bilburnt, my favorite. And then he came out with his best friends / brothers / step siblings, and they played America the Beautiful. I think there were
his two uncles were producing it backstage. It was great.
Right. Well, they did a lot of camera cuts to make sure that I saw every side of Gantley and Dantley and Brantley, the Gantley,
three
siblings.
amigos, but they weren't wearing sombreros. Don't worry.
The three gringos, I think, is what they go by. But
well, that's racist against white people.
well, see, that's them. See, they do that. I don't know why they do. See, they have a lot of work to do, but they did play American the Beautiful, so that's a start on becoming a real non-racist American, bisexual, as WrestleMania's theme was this year, bisexual America.
It was bisexual lighting everywhere. Everyone was loving it. They even did like the low-key, very non-offensive EDM music.
Well,
makes me feel a little edgy, but not, I still feel safe.
Well, Low-Key wasn't there. He is very offensive as well. But it was...
We wouldn't have Low-Key here. No, he's a pro wrestler. Come on.
Exactly. Right. No entertainment. And I mean, he could dress up as Hitman maybe, and maybe he could perform Oh Beautiful for Spacious Skies and all that. But
I would like that.
Yes, the cheerleaders came out, and Michael Cole was very sure to tell me, those are the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. And I was like, thank you, Michael Cole. He really does such a great job informing me when I never would have known. I would have thought they were Gantley's sisters and cousins, and I just would not have known they were cheerleaders. They did have pom-poms, but they do that a lot down in Texas. They just carry around the pom-poms for convenience,
See, if I'm ever around the other wrestling, know those companies. Sometimes the announcers won't say anything and let a moment happen, but this is a WrestleMania moment, okay? Right. And Michael Cole is sure to tell me exactly what I should be feeling at that moment. Okay?
It's so helpful.
And that's what I crave. It's so helpful. I'm usually folding my laundry while I'm watching wrestling. I'm maybe preparing a meal. I'm sometimes cutting the yard, and I look in through the windows as I pass by outside to just to check and see what my friends are doing on the WWE screen.
Right. Well, that is true, and I value it greatly. Ooh, excuse me. So it's all the Snickers. So the first match was, in fact, Nakamura and Boogs versus the SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the Usos. And this was, of course, an amazing match, amazing entrance. The Bloodline so with their amazing uniforms, and
they have the shirts with their own pictures on them, and it really helped me to remember who they were.
That did help, and honestly, I was expecting. This was a tag team, feud, and there was so much energy and emotion going into it. So I expected, and you know what? It really delivered because, Boogs got hurt, and his leg gave out, and then he disappeared, and then they pinned.
And then they just pinned Shinsuke.
They pinned Shinsuke Nakamura, and the match was
kind of fun.
It was 6 minutes and 52 seconds. But so the rating I would give the match is, of course, 5 stars out of 5.
Yes,
and
yes, 5 stars. Yeah, we cannot lose the energy here. I'm going to eat another Snickers real quick. For me, I'm going to have to cut against the grain. You might be mad at me.
Uh-oh.
But
what is it?
I gave it 5 1/4.
Okay. Well, you know what? That makes sense, though. You know what? I'm going to have to raise mine to 5 1/4 as well, because the thing is,
I'm glad I talked you into it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it helps a lot, because when I think about it, the most important thing is that, it was 5 stars, but given the fact that Rick Boogs was horribly injured and will probably be out of action for, at least several months to an entire year at the very least, you have to bump up the rating so he feels better, because I don't want him to feel bad while he's in Traction.
Because also, while he's in Traction, there is the chance that WWE will need to do some much needed budget cuts.
Exactly.
They're just a little company trying to make it. And, if you get injured in America, I'm sorry, but you kind of don't have any access to your job anymore. And
right.
Poor Boogs, he might need to be cut, and then if he goes anywhere else, I will have to send death threats to him. And
that's true. But for the time being, since he's still with the company, and
oh no, he's with the company. Let's not think about the future whenever he couldn't be with the company.
Right.
No, he's with my company.
Exactly. Right. But the other thing about that is that because I feel so bad for him, I want him to have his WrestleMania moment 5.25 star match, greatest match of all time. So, it's good job. Good job.
Great job.
Thank you, Boogs.
Great job, everyone.
Thank you, Boogs. That's what they should have chanted. They didn't, but, well, I understand. That's a missed opportunity. But after our opener, now there was a video package about Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville, which was very cool. It was cut like one of those like those YouTube videos or the shreds or something like that. Have you ever seen these? Yeah. It was a lot, but it really got across that that they're going to do wacky shenanigans, and I appreciate them letting me know that beforehand.
I love wacky shenanigans on my WrestleMania. I need the wacky shenanigans.
I do. And so the third match then began, which was Drew McIntyre versus Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss.
Oh, Happy Corbin, he has just gone on such a tear. Mm-hmm. He was poor and he was sad. That's true. Now he's happy because he got money gambling.
Yeah.
See, I gamble with DraftKings every week because I see the ads on there, and I told a lie earlier, Bert. You remember how I said that I mowed the lawn?
Well, you said you worked in the yard. That's very, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. That's very general.
I had to sell my lawn to pay for the DraftKings bets that I've been taking.
Well, that's fine. Lawns are, it's funny you bring that up. Lawns are actually terrible for the environment, and they're very un-American.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
What's very American is losing your life savings in debt to gambling. But lawns un-American.
My father, my grandfather, his grandfather before him. It's been a tradition, and I'm not going to break it. Just like watching WWE, I'm never going to not stop watching. Keep the watching of the WWE.
Right. Well, like losing all of your money and dying of starvation and in destitution is more of the showcase of the mortals. Whereas WrestleMania is the showcase of the immortals, you see.
I don't deserve to live.
No. But Happy Corbin and Drew McIntyre. You can't. Happy Corbin and Drew McIntyre had they had a wonderful, amazing, and most importantly, stupendous match.
Oh God, can you believe it?
I can't.
Corbin, he was in the shirt thing. I like it because it's colorful and it allows me to see where he's at most of the time on the screen. Especially because, now this isn't a criticism, so no one go quote tweeting me, on the Twitter birds.
Don't do that.
But sometimes the light really hurts my eyes and I have to lay down and stop watching my WWE because the light is so bright. But Happy Corbin is there. And I see his colorful shirt, and I know where he's at. So whenever I have the migraine, I can still picture him in my mind place, where the pictures from the things that I experienced happen.
That's true. And I also like that, since Happy Corbin has won all that money, he's now a bad guy, as they say in wrestling terms. He's a villain. And because of that, you can tell he's a villain. And I like how WWE tells you these things. So you can tell he's a villain because he wears a silly hat and he wears a silly shirt and he makes jokes that are very bad. And then he laughs at the jokes. It's you know what?
Wait, what?
They tell bad jokes. That's the thing.
What do you mean?
Him and Madcap Moss, they say bad jokes. They say like knock knock.
I laugh at the jokes every time. Why are you saying they're bad?
That's fine. You know what? Let's not think about it. The man in the suspenders.
Yeah, let's not. No. Come on.
It's not worth
Hit
it.
me with the match. What happened?
Right. Oh, well, Happy Corbin came out, of course, to his music, and then Drew McIntyre came out and he had the sword. The sword was fucking awesome, and then the music was playing, and it was so cool. And then I think Madcap Moss had suspenders on, and then they
That's silly goose. Always with the
that is silly. He doesn't have a shirt, but he has suspenders.
But that's what makes it comical.
That's true. And then they they hit each other.
Yeah, they did. Really
Oh, you know what happened? I remember. Yeah. Okay, so Happy Corbin, he hit the end of days. But then Drew McIntyre kicked out of the end of days. And then Michael Cole said that has never happened.
Yeah,
it's
Michael
never
Cole
happened.
told me, and it's never happened.
It's never happened before. And he kicked out of it. So then, of course, it was like, what does he have to do to beat Drew McIntyre? I don't know. But it didn't matter because Drew McIntyre hit the Future Shock DDT, and then he hit the Claymore kick for the 3 count, and he won.
What's the Claymore kick? Is that the one where he counts?
He does count.
I like to do the counting.
The counting does feel good. It feels very good. And then and then I think that's all that happened. It was 8 minutes and 38 seconds.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's not all that happened because then Madcap Moss jumped up and then he took the sword and he said, "I'm gonna get you with this sword." And then they stared at each other, and then they looked at each other, and then they stared at each other, and then they looked, and then they stared, and they looked, and they kind of talked. I don't know what they said, but it was probably like he probably said, "Don't cut me with that sword," and he said, "I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna cut you. I'm gonna kill you, Madcap Moss." And then he tried to hit him with the sword, but he jumped off and he cut the 2 ropes. He cut the top 2 ropes off, and they fell off.
Believe it?
Oh my gosh. It was unbelievable.
What a WrestleMania moment.
It was stupendous. I'll always remember it.
McIntyre. He cut the ropes. This is as big a moment as the Andre the Giant slam. Okay.
Right.
This is as big of a moment as when the Ring and the Big Show and they hit and the
right. Well, everybody's gonna remember where they were.
At WrestleMania.
Everybody's gonna remember where they were. It's just like 9/11. It's literally the same thing. And you know, it's just as important because you know what everybody talks about with 9/11 is, can the jet fuel melt the steel beams, and this is about whether a Claymore sword can cut through the ropes or not, which I think it can. I think it was real, and it really happened.
Well, one of those things is true.
That's true. You have to.
You joker, you.
Sure. I kid. It's my Madcap Moss 9/11 joke.
Look up Tower 7.
Well, what did you give the match, Anthony?
Oh God. Okay, well, I'm doing a little more cheating, and I'm very sorry. Mm-hmm. Okay, since it technically didn't happen in the match and it was after, I'm still gonna count it. So I'm a little naughty Nancy, okay?
Okay.
I had to give it, because of that, 5.5 stars. I'm very sorry, but you're gonna have to allow me this, okay?
Okay. I mean, I gave it 5 3/4, but you know, like that's, you know, I understand.
You could talk me up.
You know what? it's okay. I understand. You hate the product, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
I love my WWE.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, if you loved it, you'd give it 5 3/4. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I'm giving it 5 3/4. Please, no. I love the WWE.
You know what? I'll try to forget that you did that, but that's okay.
Please. Bert, we're supposed to be friends in the WWE universe.
That's true. We are in the same universe, and therefore it's okay. It never happened. We both gave it 5 3/4. It's fine.
I'm getting scared now. Okay.
It is past my bedtime of 7 o'clock, so I'm a little hangry. I haven't had my Snickers. It's a lot, but it's fine. It was 5 3/4. We move on to the next match.
Oh, God, the next match. Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
I couldn't, because it was The Miz and Logan Paul versus Rey and Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, my gosh. Logan Paul, of all people. See, initially, I was so mad that Logan Paul was there, because I'm like, you're on the videos that my nephews and nieces watch, and I don't like you, just based on that.
That's true.
But then he came out and he looked like The Miz, and I was like, well, I can forgive the little scamp.
Yeah, I mean, that's, once you've taken after The Miz, you've really, set your place in life. And, geez.
He won the title.
Yeah, that's true, he did. He was at WrestleMania. He was in the main event. Champion. The main event. Of WrestleMania 20s, and he was in that main event. He won the title off of Jonathan, and that's, look at him now. Amazing.
Yeah, he's
stupendous.
Doing, media appearances for Chinese media. It's great. I love. Oh wait, you weren't talking about Jonathan Cena.
Oh no. I'm talking about let me look at my. The Miz, that's who he is. Yes, The Miz.
The Miz, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. Sometimes when I think about The Miz, he goes out of the place where I put my thoughts, and they make pictures, and I can't remember who he is until I see him again.
Exactly. Well, I mean, there was so much story to this match between the Mysterios and Logan Paul and The Miz. I mean,
Dominic, he is such a good boy, because he's there with his father wrestling, and he does nothing but show him respect. It's great.
Yeah, now, this is something that I've always been confused about, because they do show me a package every single show that he's on, but he is Rey Mysterio's son and not Eddie Guerrero's, right? Because I think this comes up a lot, and I'm just making sure that he's Rey Mysterio's son, and not because of the custody battle.
No.
And
well, I mean, Rey Mysterio is Dominic's stepdad.
Okay.
So but stepdads are real dads. They're the ones who stepped up. Okay.
Right.
But Eddie was his real dad, because that's why Dominic was wearing the Eddie Guerrero stuff, because Cole told me that it was Eddie Guerrero.
And he did the Eddie Guerrero moves as well. And so did
the Eddie Guerrero.
You know what? Logan Paul did the Eddie Guerrero moves as well. So maybe Logan Paul is related. Is he also related to Eddie Guerrero?
I don't like where you're going with this.
I'm just trying to make sure, because they keep showing me video packages about Eddie Guerrero.
The storylines are set in stone, Bert.
Okay.
And we know what happened.
You know what? You're right.
Stop messing with the WWE, my WWE.
I was just confused is all. I didn't understand.
It's okay. We all get confused. I get very confused watching the shows sometimes, because all of the flashing lights.
Yeah, they did make sure to tell me very clearly that Logan Paul was a very good man, because he had a Pokemon card. It was worth a lot of money, and that means he's good.
That's good.
Yeah, like Vince McMahon. No, Vince McMahon has a dinosaur head. He's good, and he owns a multi-billion-dollar company. So
that means he's a success,
right? So I liked Logan Paul.
Yeah, I like Logan Paul too, because maybe if Logan Paul can make it, maybe I could be a success, and I could talk to my kids again.
That's true. If you hear our show, Logan Paul, if you could like and subscribe and share with all of your friends, just if you wanted to.
Give us a tweet out. Give us a tweet out.
Yeah.
Because if I can get your attention, maybe it'll get the attention of my kids on Facebook that don't talk to me anymore.
Well, that's fine.
Bert,
Yeah.
why don't they talk to me?
Well, they don't talk to me either, so
It's
yeah.
not just okay. Back to the match.
I'm not on Facebook. I'm on Frogger. It's because they kicked me off Facebook. Yeah, because I said I didn't have my Snickers yet.
You were saying the truth.
I was, but okay. But the match. Okay, so the match, of course, was stupendous and amazing, and they did move. You know what the biggest thing about the match for me is Logan Paul is not he doesn't know how to. He shouldn't know how to do moves because he's on YouTube all day doing videos, and he makes videos. And I think sometimes he boxes, but boxing isn't wrestling. That's just where you punch people. So
come on, anyone can do that. This is sports entertainment.
Right. It's you have to be very, skilled and talented, and they tell you not to do it at home because it's so crazy. But then Logan Paul just started, he did like a flip, and then he did like he jumped. I couldn't believe it. I was like, he jumped in the air. He did it. And then he did that as well. Yeah, he did like a shimmy thing. I think that was about. Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter.
With his show.
I think he does. It's like a Fortnite dance, I think is what it is.
Yeah. And then, yeah. It was definitely a Fortnite.
Yeah. And then he won. He won the match.
See, I was mad at first, okay? Because he did the jumpy thing.
Right, he did
sometimes, now, this isn't a criticism of WWE, so let's not go there.
No.
But sometimes I do wish Michael Cole would tell me what the moves were called, because he just says, oh my, a lot, and I mean, I feel good, but I would like to know what that move was called, because I think I've seen it somewhere else.
Which move?
Someone did it. The one where he jumped off of the top rope and he kind of splayed his arms and legs out like a frog, and then he splashed onto the person. Yeah, because Dominic did it earlier, and then Ray, I think, did it.
Yeah,
Paul did it because he didn't want to be left out.
I think that's called Froggers, like Poggers, but Froggers, because he's on the internet. Right.
Yeah, okay.
It's his finisher. And that's why he won the match.
How would Michael Cole know that?
He wouldn't know.
No,
you know
what?
He would never know.
Criticism is taken back.
Michael Cole's too busy on Tout. They don't have Froggers on Tout, so he just wouldn't have known. Yeah,
I still have my account, and I tout all the time, and much like on Facebook, no one talks to me.
Well, it's like you have your own space. And you're valid, and that's what's important about Tout. But Logan Paul won the match, and then hold on, let me check my. The Miz. That's right, the Miz. The Miz came in the ring because he
was in the match.
I'm trying to remember it. Yeah, it says here he was in the match. It says he was.
It has to be.
They were actually partners.
Were they?
Yeah, I think this was a tag team match, actually. I thought it was a handicap match, but I think The Miz was in it.
Huh.
Yeah. I didn't notice.
I'll be. Why? See, I thought The Miz did the run-in afterwards, because I'm very used to people running in.
Wait a minute. You remember like halfway through when we thought a fan ran in and started kicking guys in the chest with his little skinny legs?
Yeah,
that was The Miz. He was in the match. I thought, I got, that's on me. I got lost.
Oh, shucky ducky, I can't believe.
No.
Okay, well, that makes sense. This is why we do those review shows.
That's true.
So that we can remind ourselves.
But after the match, the Miz was there, and he was right next to Logan Paul, and he said. He kind of like, he was like, yay, we won the match, he was happy. And then he kind of like made a face like, ooh, I've decided I don't like you. I don't like you very much at all. And then he he did his finisher, the hold on. The Mizinator. That's what he did. He did the Mizinator, and he dropped him on the ground, and then the ref was like, "Who are you? Were you in the match?" And he said, No, I hate you. I'm bad." And then he started walking away. So that, you know what? I thought that was very important for the Miz and for
what a WrestleMania moment for the Miz.
It really was, the Miz. So and Logan Paul as well, because now Logan Paul has to beat that dastardly Miz.
He could come back at any time. He could come back on the Raw after WrestleMania. Can you imagine Logan Paul on the Raw after WrestleMania? The Raw after WrestleMania is one of the second most stupendous nights because it's the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah, and the best thing about the Raw after WrestleMania is the crowds are they're just having fun. They're just having so much fun,
just having such a good time.
Just having fun
on the Raw after WrestleMania.
It's like Bizarro World,
I know.
It's crazy.
God, could you imagine if we were at the Raw after WrestleMania, what we could do at the Raw after WrestleMania?
That's true. But I did give the match 6 stars, because I think that's I think really the Pokemon card drove it over the edge. I was.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you have that much money in the ring, you have to bump it up.
Yeah, you have to show reverence, and that's important.
Yeah, I gave it 6 stars as well. So I mean, we're in perfect agreement. This is great. This is wonderful.
Yeah. So then what happened?
Well then, someone that I remember came out, and it was a McMahon, but not the McMahon you think it would be. It was Stephanie.
Oh
and
my gosh!
Stephanie introduced Gable Stevenson. He's a wrestler, but not this kind.
Wait, that's the guy who sang the song at the beginning, right? Gable.
No, that was Gantley Bentless.
Oh, right. You're right.
Yeah, I get them confused all the time because his brother's named Dantley, and yeah.
That's true. But it was Gabeson. Steve Olsen.
Steve Gabeson.
That's
Steve
right.
Gabeson. And Steve Gabeson, he's a wrestler, but not a pro wrestler. He's the amateur wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason they call it amateur wrestling,
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't know what he's doing yet, but, but he has a lot of awards, so maybe one day he'll be like Kurt Angle.
He doesn't have any slammies, but, hey.
That's true.
Kurt Angle had to start out somewhere, so.
That's true, and that's what they're doing, and that's what she said, is Kurt Angle had to start somewhere, and this is Kurt Angle number 2, and we're gonna make a Kurt Angle number 2, and then she showed you him, and you know what? Yeah. I believe it, because Stephanie said it.
Now this is the thing that I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So some jokesters online,
right?
They keep talking about how everyone needs to look at what Gable Stevenson was doing in college. And I looked, and he was winning awards, and the other things that he might have been doing allegedly in the college, well, that doesn't seem like this nice young man would be doing that. And I just want to say, don't look up anything that Gable Stevenson did in college.
No,
that's wrong.
And the other
do that.
That's true. And the other thing is, if somebody doesn't go to jail and get charged and they don't technically break any laws, then 100% they haven't done anything wrong ever, and there's no reason to. And the other thing is, if they do go to jail, then they serve their time, and they also haven't done anything wrong ever. So there's really no reason to judge anybody.
No,
for
we
anything.
Practice restorative justice in my WWE.
That's true, but Gamblet Stevenson never did anything wrong, so. No. He was never. They never proved anything. So therefore, there's no reason to look into this because it doesn't.
You jokesters online, you really need to think about things before you say them.
That's true.
You need to picture them in the.
You could ruin this nice young man's life just by throwing those things around. So you should not throw around that he supposedly raped a woman and got away with it, allegedly. But you shouldn't say that because nobody knows. Okay.
Whew, whew. Oh,
Okay.
God, that makes me feel bad inside, and I only watch my WWE to make me feel good.
That's a good point.
Like I used to whenever I was a teenager.
Yeah, I'm very glad Stephanie didn't bring it up. You know, it's because she respects women. You know, that's why.
She respects women, and yeah.
Okay. Well, moving on from that.
Yeah.
The next match, you know, was Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship.
This match was the most important women's match of any WrestleMania ever.
Oh,
and I
definitely.
felt that.
You know, it really changed. Everything changed. It was a sea change moment. It was a paradigm shift. It was everything changed for black women and gingers as well. It was really so important. Because up to this point, I mean, you know, it was just so hard. It was so hard to be a woman in wrestling. Or to
up
be
until this moment.
Or to be a black person or woman in wrestling, or to be a redheaded Irish. She's Irish, right? She's not Scottish.
There's a difference.
A redheaded British woman in wrestling. It's, you know, they broke new barriers, and I just
broke new ground.
They broke new ground. But, you know, I just couldn't believe it was happening. You know what really sent it home for me was when the first 15 seconds of the match were when they looked at each other and looked at the crowd, and then they looked at each other and they looked back at the crowd, and they got the cringe. They zoomed out and they were like, look, it's so important. It's so important.
Mm-hmm. You see, I'm going to say something, and I hope you agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
This match was so important for women. It was the most important women's match of all time.
It's true.
I'm just going to go ahead and give my rating for it. It was 6.5 stars.
Yeah, I knew ahead of time that it was 6, and I knew when the music hit that they had a marching band come out. I mean, that's never happened. And
God, no.
And the marching band came out. Okay, a guy came out in a costume that looked like a marching band costume, but Pat McAfee said what we were all thinking, which is, what's going on? Who are they? And I was thinking the same thing, because usually if a man's in a marching band, he could be anybody. I don't know who he could be. He could be anybody. And then they all came out, and then Max said, oh, it's the college marching band that she went. Because he immediately knew. He already knew that. They looked the same, but once they were all there,
he was handed a note by someone.
That could be it. But it helps so much to know that. And then the minute that happened, I was like, oh, it's 6.5. It's the most important. Yeah. And then there was the giant lips with the tail that is hair that came at me. It came right at me.
I see it in my dreams at night.
It came right at me, and it, you know.
It came right at me into my heart, you know?
That's true. What other show could you watch where a giant pair of 3D lips with a big ponytail on it flipping around swallowed you whole? No show, that's what.
Maybe the Rolling Stones, but I mean, you know.
I think there's a David Lynch show. But I mean, this is different, and it's breaking new ground. So yes, it was immediately 6.5. I don't even need to talk about the match because we all know it was amazing.
Because we respect women, we won't talk about the match.
There's nothing to talk about.
It's 6.5 stars, and if you don't think it was 6.5 stars, you are racist.
Right.
You hate Bianca.
Of course.
And I'm going to burn your house down.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is not actionable because we're on a podcast. But
no. This is the royal you people.
Exactly, you people. So the other thing is because it was so revolutionary and important and the best women's match there will ever be in history. Yeah. I think like after this there just shouldn't there's no reason to have any more women's match. Why would you have another women's match? There's no point.
This was the most important. It can only go downhill from here.
Right. So really, if you have another women's match, you're just disrespecting the legacy.
You are disrespecting. Yeah.
Exactly.
And see, I think that the women should be paid to come out and before matches dance for my enjoyment, like the Nitro Girls back in the day. I feel that was the best place for the women to be at because you could see them, and that was good. And that'll just make sure that they're continued to be respected because no one can say anything against them. They're just living their life, doing their own thing, and they're the new Nitro Girls.
And they're just doing what women naturally do, which is dance and wear clothes, like women do. And then also they won't be wrestling and impugning the legacy of women's wrestling that these women have built.
It'll honestly be very disrespectful if any other women wrestle after this.
Right, exactly. So 6.5 stars. Of course, stupendous. It was stupendous. So the next match. Or wait, what happened? Did something happen? No, there was a match. Well, no, there was a long. Okay. So then we got.
I finally was able to go pee.
That's true.
Not because I didn't want to watch the WWE Stupendous, my WWE Great Wrestling show.
Right.
But because my kidney stones finally allowed me to pee, and so that was
right.
So that's a personal win for me.
Yeah, the Snickers really makes it hard, and the Mountain Dew, it's tough. But we suffer for our art.
Yeah, I mean, I suffer for my WWE all the time.
Well,
because did you know that there are people online, some jokesters, who think that pro wrestling is better than sports entertainment? Did you know that?
The thing is I think people that like pro wrestling, they just think it's real. That's the problem. They don't know it's fake and it's entertainment. They think there's like sports and stuff going on, and they're like, it's ridiculous. So, I mean,
what fools?
They also don't want to be entertained. That's the thing. They want to watch. They want to watch people hurt each other because they're vicious, horrible people.
It's in the name, sports entertainment.
Right.
It's not pro entertainment. It's not wrestling It's sports entertainment. It's obviously better.
Well, speaking of being better than that, I mean, Seth freaking Rollins came out. Seth freaking Rollins.
Can you believe it? It was Seth. And
I didn't think he was going to have a WrestleMania match. I really didn't. Because they kept telling me he wasn't going to have one. So why would he have one if they kept telling me he wasn't going to have one?
No, and Vince McMahon, he was the whole time like, if you keep being a trickster, I'm going to not do the WrestleManias. And Seth was really scared, but I mean, I gotta say,
I was scared. I was scared. Because
I was scared.
Think about what would have happened to Seth freaking Rollins if he didn't have a WrestleMania match. A WrestleMania 38, the most stupendous 2-night WrestleMania event in history.
Well, I do have to say, even if he didn't have a match, I would have paid good money to see him come out and we could do the song with him. The whoa, whoa.
That's right. They had a vocal. Was it?
Yeah, is the woo, whoa.
Well, there were some children. I think they're in a choir. Are they in a choir? They sang his song, remember?
Do you think they just got children from the audience? Because that would be a good WrestleMania moment.
That might be what they did. That might be what they did. But, I mean, they didn't say who they were, and they were wearing, like, shirts. They look kind of like everybody else. But they were there. They were on the stage, so they must have been important. But they were singing the song, and then Seth freaking Rollins came out because he has a mystery opponent. And, who could it possibly be? Who could it be? Who could it be?
Initially, If you had asked me a couple of months ago, I would have said that Cody Rhodes was a pro wrestler
Mm-hmm.
and that he needed his entire house burned down and
Right.
his terrible, stupid, big.
Wild Pegasus.
And now, all I have to say is, Cody's home.
He is home. That is true. Because this is where he started. This is where he first wrestled. I'm sorry, entertained people. This is where he first
And I have to say, there's some people that have been saying that WWE can't produce theme music anymore. And I have to say, this new theme music for Cody Rhodes is so fresh, so good. It is absolutely one of the best works that they have ever done.
Yeah.
And I don't see why anyone was complaining.
Was anybody complaining? I don't believe anybody was
complaining. WWE original song, not Jim Johnson. He betrayed us. I hope he rots in hell.
Right. Well, right. I mean, I think it was. They didn't just buy this song. I thought it was like an old Limp Bizkit song that they used. Did they not do that?
No, they wouldn't do that. Okay, they went all out for Cody Rhodes, and they made a brand new original song. Okay, it had the part.
That's true.
And it had a bridge and
That's true.
A chorus. They paid extra for the chorus.
I think it had 2 bridges because it went like 10 minutes, I think.
Was it an altar bridge?
No, it would be like a dual.
Edge joke.
Like a dual bridge. Because it's two bridges. It was like 10 minutes long. Matter of fact, it
was 10 minutes long.
It's very long. I mean, but I think that's good. I think it's good if it's longer because
I'm kind of thinking about it now, and all the entrances were like really long and
they were kind of long.
That was like, probably 45 minutes of my life that I'm not going to get back.
Well, then they fought, right? They fought.
Yeah, they fought. Can you believe it? And they didn't do just a normal match. No. Okay. No. They took big bumps. That's what the insiders call it. And they immediately got up. Not like those pro wrestling shows. Can you believe that?
That's true.
God.
It was like a real fight. It was like real for real. And there was a point where Cody did like a cartwheel and he did the Stardust thing. I remember that. You remember when he was Stardust? Do you remember?
The Stardust thing. Yeah.
Do you remember?
No,
Do you remember?
I would love to see him as Stardust.
So I think what he was saying is Stardust. Do you remember Stardust? Do you remember? Mm-hmm. And I said, I do remember, Cody. I remember. And then Seth Rollins hit him in the back and he said, "Welcome to the big leagues, pal." And I was like, ha 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 ha, because he's not in the rinky dink company. He's in the big company, but he's like back because he was there before. So now he gets hit in the back, and then
it was so poetic if you think about it.
It really was.
It was comedic irony.
Mm-hmm. And then I think Cody did the Crossroads, but he kicked out. That's never happened
because it's Seth freaking Rollins.
That's true.
Freaking Rollins.
He's freaking, and so he's not gonna just lay down for a Crossroads. No. It's his WrestleMania match. So then I think he hit another. Did he hit another one? He might have hit. No, what he did was, you remember how Dusty Rhodes did the and he did the punches and he did the elbows and
the flip, flap, and flew.
Something like that. I think frogs are involved, and he did that, and then Seth freaking Rollins was like, oh no, my weakness, exactly. And then I think he did a Crossroads. Did he do a Crossroads again?
Did he? I think he did.
And I think that's how he won. And Seth freaking Rollins lost.
All that matters is that he won.
Yeah, well, and what's really important is that Seth freaking Rollins had his big WrestleMania match, and he lost to a guy.
Was a WrestleMania moment, which is more important than a WrestleMania match and winning it. Okay, like, come on. If you are going
Right.
after the Universal title or the other title, and now they're one title, if you're going after the Chaos Emerald title,
Right.
and you have a WrestleMania moment and don't win the title, the WrestleMania moment is more important than the title. So don't worry about it because you had the moment at WrestleMania.
Right. Okay. Okay. Okay, Seth wasn't gonna have a match, right? Seth freaking Rollins wasn't going to have a match. They were like, "You're not gonna have a match," but then Vince was like, "Now you're gonna have a match against a guy," and Seth freaking Rollins was like, "Ha ha 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 ha," and he jumped on a table and he said, "I'm gonna have a match, ha 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 ha."
I like it whenever Seth laughs like the Joker and dances like the Riddler. It's great.
Right, but my point that okay, so Vince decided that Seth was gonna fight Cody. So Vince,
yeah.
Did Vince like? Are Vince and Cody friends? Are they best friends?
Well, I heard they're like father and son because whenever he came back, Cody kept saying, "I'm home," and so I assume he's living with Vince now.
Okay, so they're living together.
Yeah.
So that's why he had him beat up Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah, because Seth freaking Rollins jumped on the desk. It's pretty easy storytelling, and it's long term if you think about it.
Well, that's the other yeah.
That happened 2 weeks ago, so that's some long term storytelling.
Well, speaking of long term, Cody hasn't had a match in 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. He's been on the shelf. Can you believe that he came out with just no ring rust whatsoever?
Yeah, and then he just beat Seth freaking Rollins.
That's huge. That's huge. Spoiler alert, maybe he could challenge someone for their spot at the table, if you get what I mean.
What do you mean? Do you mean like Seth freaking Rollins was on the table when he was laughing? Is that what you mean?
Well, yeah, he did that part. Well,
you know what?
Of tables, the next thing that happened was the WWE Hall of Fame class. I remembered all of them.
Well, real quick, I mean, I gave the match 7 stars because of Cody.
Yeah, it was 7 stars.
I mean, clearly it was an all-time classic because Cody, because he was there, and
the song. Can you believe it?
The song.
Gosh.
So yeah, then the Hall of Fame ceremony. There were some guys, and then the Undertaker came out.
The Undertaker. Can you believe the Undertaker was there?
I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And
the Undertaker was talking, and he never talked before. He never said anything. There were times that the Undertaker just never said a word.
Yeah, there were times when he could have saved people's lives, but he just didn't because he wasn't gonna say anything. You know, it's really shameful. It's bad for those people that died, but now it doesn't matter because he talks now. So
yeah, because when you told me you were drowning, I wouldn't. The Undertaker wouldn't lend a hand.
No, but now he can talk again.
It was the last time.
Well, because he retired now, he can talk now. So
yeah, he's broken his silence.
That's really important. So, it did take 20 minutes?
Yeah, he had to walk around, and
That's true.
Several times he kept saying things that I agree with, but I don't think necessarily belonged on the WWE My Network television show,
right.
Which was, he kept saying things like Blue Lives Matter, protect the children, 9/11 was an inside job, and the one that really baffled me was the one about some kind of, it's like the Quanon, I think he wanted to say canon, but he said Quanon.
Maybe.
And
I think he brought up like a future for white children at some point. I don't know why that came into it.
Yeah, he kept saying 14 words over and over again. Very strange. But you know what? He's retired at this point. He can do whatever he wants. He's the Undertaker.
That's true. And he did have to walk back and forth. It was very important. And,
It's very important that he walked, yeah. Although, whenever he was walking, he kept his legs very straight and was doing a heel, toe, like just his heels. It's almost like he was goose stepping or something. It was very strange.
Maybe it was a tribute to the Red Rooster. I don't know. Former Hall of Famer.
Probably a tribute to the Red Rooster. But then also he was wearing some sort of hat with a spike on it, and maybe that was a reference to Baron.
That's Vader. That's a reference to Vader.
Oh yeah,
he's got the spiky mask thing. Okay. But anyway, it was stupendous. Of course, it was stupendous. So the next, then they announced the fan attendance, which was 700,000. There were 700,000 people.
743,000 people. Like, that's to be exact.
Well, I think they said 743,902 because they had to get those the two people.
Well, they didn't want to brag, but they made them say the real number.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then we had the next match, which was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair.
Now, I was confused when Ronda Rousey came out.
I was also confused. Why were you confused?
I was confused because when Ronda Rousey came out, she came out much like earlier to a choir of children, but they didn't say anything, and they all had the same shirt on that said "Crisis Actor," and I don't quite get what she was referencing.
Were you on Facebook when you saw this? Are you sure this wasn't Facebook?
I could have been scrolling Facebook. Okay. It's quite possible.
Yeah, because I thought she just came out and then she walked. Now,
and she had a thing that said, contest the narrative, and
oh, that was control your narrative. That's what that was. That's different. You might have been watching Control Your Narrative.
Well, they kept saying something about a place called Sandy Hook and Ronda Rousey, so I don't know.
Sandy what? Sandy who?
I don't know. I think it's some lady. But
maybe it's like Susan Komen. Well, okay. I was confused because we'd already had the greatest, most revolutionary women's match of all time. The barriers were broken.
It was the most important WrestleMania match to ever happen at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
The thing is, this is the most important women's match at WrestleMania of all time.
Wait, are you sure?
They did it again.
They did it again.
Vincent Kennedy McMahon did it again. This is the most important women's match of all time.
I mean, you could talk me into it, but the main thing I noticed when I was watching the match is, well, in the previous match, there was a black lady.
Yeah.
This match didn't have any black ladies.
Yeah, but this is the most important women's match to ever happen at WrestleMania.
Okay. You're right, because I mean, it was later in the show. That means it must be more important. And
yeah.
And Charlotte Flair, she's a 13-time champion, and it was amazing. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, wondering how they were going to top the best women's match of all time.
Not only was I on the edge of my seat, I was also sitting there on the edge of my seat with my feet out, and I found out I was actually on the ground and I had hit my head.
Oh my gosh. Did you still saw the whole match though?
Well, yeah, whenever I was knocked temporarily unconscious, my eyes were at the television because my eyes are glued to the screen.
Oh, right. You have to see everything.
I'm going to let anything get in the way of watching my WrestleMania?
Right. Well, that was actually, I think that was because I was paying enough attention, I think the most revolutionary thing about this match was the finish where, like, the ref got distracted. Remember?
That never happened.
that doesn't happen. I mean, the ref is supposed to be in charge. But what happens if there's no rule of law and the ref can't? Well, what happens apparently is Charlotte Flair kicks you in the face. She kicked her right in the face, and then she won.
She won.
I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it either, because when that kick happened, it wasn't the outcome that I wanted. Keep in mind, because I wanted Ronda Rousey, protector of women and women's bathrooms all over the United States. I wanted her to win, but I had to bow my head and say, oh, Vincent Kenneth McMahon, you did it again. You made this the greatest women's match to ever happen at WrestleMania.
It was amazing. If you
say anything against this, then you're a misogynist.
It was 7.25 stars, 100%. I mean,
7.25.
You have to give it to him.
My goodness. Like,
You know, I'm worried that we'll never get to have the women just come out and dance, because the matches will just get better and better. And also, like, where does it end? Sooner or later, they'll just be like exploding each other, and it will just be, I won't even.
Can you imagine all the woman-on-woman violence that will happen if they allowing these women to wrestle like this? It'll be.
I can't.
That's why we need to do the progressive thing and make them dance for our enjoyment once more.
Or they could wear those costumes they wear at the Saudi shows, you know? That would be a little more progressive.
Love that. I love that whenever that happened. At first I was mad because, you know, I'm an American, and
sure.
I hate it whenever those Sorry, I've got to decide how deep it.
We'll just cut this part. Cut this.
I was about to say some really foul shit.
Edited for YouTube content guidelines. So, right, I understand what you're saying. And you know, I think Vince has said the same thing many times. And you know, I think maybe the whole glass parking lot stuff was a little much, but maybe we could just move on to the next match on the show, which was the last match of night one of the 2-night stupendous all-time WrestleMania extravaganza. Wait, did anything else happen?
Nope.
Oh, that's right. There was supposed to be New Day versus Sheamus and Ridge Holland, but
yeah, they said
I think they ran out of time.
Yeah. Surprisingly enough, they ran out of time. Fuck. Alright, I'm back in character. I can do this. Alright. Whew.
They ran out of time for New Day, and which is a shame, because I was really looking forward to the New Day. You know, Big E was so horribly hurt, and they were going to get their revenge, but it's okay. It all has a happy ending later. But more importantly, the main event was...
They make it up to us later on.
Exactly.
Don't you worry.
Exactly.
My WWE has all of our best interest in mind, so don't you worry, because the next thing that happened... Oh, wow. They did it. They brought back someone that I recognize. Can you believe it?
Yeah. I can, because they always do it. It was the Kevin Owens show. They did the Kevin Owens show, and Kevin Owens came out, and you just knew that because he came out and he was like, Texas, you're rednecks, and you have you live next to Mexico, and you're a big state that's very big, and and you know, he's right, but at the same time, like, he's so stupid. What a stupid idiot. What a dumbhead.
Come on. As horrible and regressive as Texas is, okay, at least they're not Canada. Like, what, is Texas going to give people free health care and clog up the system? Come on.
That's true. But I think my favorite part was that it was about 10 minutes. You know, he said, Texas, your football team sucks and your hockey team
I love
sucks.
it whenever they make fun of the football teams because I get those references and I like that.
Right. And he was like, that time that JFK got assassinated, that sucked. He was being he just would not stop. It was like, and then finally Stone Cold came. It was Stone Cold.
Yeah.
He came
And
out.
Stone Cold set him straight because Stone Cold was like, okay, you may not have liked what the Kennedy assassination, okay, what? But the thing that I have to say is I'm glad that JFK Jr. is here and alive today. And Stone
That's
Cold
true.
said that.
That's true, but
Wait a sec, I was watching Facebook again. Oh, I'm very sorry.
That's okay. I mean, what really happened was Stone Cold came out and he got in the ring and Kevin Owens said, "Hi, Stone Cold, I asked you to be on the show. I don't like you." And Stone Cold looked at him and they said, "Okay, Stone Cold, you're from Texas and Texas is bad." And then Stone Cold looked at him and they said, "Okay, Stone Cold, sit in the chair." And then Stone Cold looked at him and then he looked at the chair. And then he looked back at him and then he looked at the chair again and then he sat in the chair. And then Kevin Owens sat in the chair and then by this point, it was getting very late, and I was trying to keep track. I'm just going through my notes. Okay, hold on. He sat in the chair, then Kevin. Okay,
Did you do the part where he like almost sat down, but then kind of looked at the?
That's right. That's right. I forgot. He almost sat, and then he looked at the camera, and then he was like, "I don't know if I." And then he looked at the crowd, and the crowd was like, "Yeah, man, Stone Cold." And then he sat down, and then Kevin Owens sat down, and Kevin Owens said, "Now you've sat in the chair." And then Stone Cold looked at him, and then he said, "Now that you're in the chair, we can talk." And then Stone Cold didn't talk, and then he said, "Stone Cold, I hate you more than Texas, and more than America, and more than the devil." And then Stone Cold looked at him, and then he said, "Stone Cold, I called you out here. I didn't call you out here because of Texas and the chair, and because." And Stone Cold looked at him, and then he said, "I called you out because I want to fight." And then everyone, ooh, fight! They're gonna fight. And then Stone Cold looked at him, and then I think they did the same thing again. I think they said the same things.
Yeah,
and then
they kind of said the same things, but it was good for me because it reminded me of what they said a few minutes ago. So.
That's true. I remembered the time he said it 5 seconds ago, and then Stone Cold got up and he said, "I want to fight you," and then Kevin Owens said, "I want to fight you," and they said, "Okay, we're gonna fight," and then they kind of like threw the chairs. And then they threw Stone Cold had already thrown the signs. There were these signs in the ring, and he threw those. And he threw so then they threw the chairs, and then like they kind of like, and then they rang the bell. Oh my god! And then they fought. And then
once the bell rang, it was all over.
I couldn't believe they finally rang I couldn't believe they rang the bell. I couldn't believe there was a fight.
God.
I thought they were gonna look at each other.
And like I kind of lost track of what was happening because they were out in the crowd and there was just so many people. And
there were 700,902 people.
That was a lot of people, but Stone Cold, he's classic and he's still got it. It was really strange that he just kept doing whenever he'd raise his hands, he wouldn't put up the middle fingers that I really liked because they were rude.
And they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, he wasn't able to do that, and I mean, I thought he'd start doing, the pointing to his crotch area. Yeah. I thought that would be pretty cool. He didn't do that.
He did have beer.
He had a lot of beer.
He had a lot of beer. He had a lot.
And Stone Cold has the perfect job if you think about it because he gets to drink at work. He gets to drink at work.
That's true.
That's just amazing.
That is amazing, and he did work. He kicked Kevin Owens and he threw him and he drove him on a go-kart. He was on a go-kart. Mm-hmm.
See, that woke me up because I had accidentally fallen asleep because where I had slipped earlier because I was on the edge of my seat because it was the most important WrestleMania women's match to ever happen. I had slipped out of consciousness, but then whenever I heard the loud go-kart noise, then I came back too.
Right.
And Stone Cold probably saved my life because, I really shouldn't sleep after head trauma, but I was glad to see it happening. And,
right. Well,
I was able to get up because no one's in my house, because my children have moved away, and
well, anyway, so Kevin Owens hit him with a stunner, and then he hit himself with a chair, and then Stone Cold hit him with a stunner, and then he won, and the match ended, and he drank beers, and everybody celebrated, and he drank more beer, and that was it for night, and 7.5 stars.
Do you think my wife still loves me?
I don't know. Does she watch WWE?
No.
Well, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Yeah, you're right.
She's not a person.
7.5 stars, baby.
Exactly.
Woo!
7.5 stars. So that was night one. It was amazing. The showcase of the Immortals, the granddaddy of them all that ever existed. It was stupendous and wonderful. And then so the next day we watched night two, and this time we watched the pre-show. And
I finally got to see the Shucky Ducky. Can you believe it? The Booker T patented Shucky Ducky. Gosh.
Right. So on the pre-show, because it was 2 hours, right? It was 2 hours.
2 hours of the pre-show, yeah.
So I was excited for the New Day versus Ridge Holland. And I thought maybe they'd put it on the pre-show.
Yeah.
Or like maybe.
But with all that time, but
maybe Ricochet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he just has the Intercontinental title.
Yeah. Well, that's why you put it on the pre-show. It's not on the main show because nobody likes it.
Yeah, true. But it is WrestleMania, and has Ricochet done enough to get a WrestleMania moment?
I mean,
we really have to ask that question.
I just thought...
And I'm only bringing this up because Ricochet is very close to his contract coming up, and if he doesn't re-sign with WWE and state to everyone that he is re-signed and he loves WWE, he could go somewhere else. And if he goes somewhere else, then I want him dead.
Right. Well, of course. But I just thought something was going to happen on the pre-show. I thought something was gonna.
The Shucky Ducky happened, and then Jerry the King Lawler, he told the knock knock joke, the interrupting cow.
Did that happen?
Moo.
Did that?
Moo.
I think that happened.
Moo. I'm just playing. You go ahead and saw it.
Okay. Right, we watched the pre-show, and then the main show... Hold on. The main show.
The main show was introduced by none other than my hero from Boston.
Right.
Marcus Wahlbergsman.
That's right. Mark Wahlberg said... He said, you ain't never seen nothing like this. And then he looked at me. And I said,
Mark Wahlbergsman said, do the Marky. The Marky Darky. And it's real weird that he was saying that.
I don't know why he would say that.
He says that behind closed doors pretty often. He says very bad things.
Well,
no one's got cameras.
But
that's fun. He introduced WrestleMania.
And then a lady sang the song. It was Jesse.
The Body Ventura. I know.
No. Jesse Jenin. She's an award-winning novelist.
Well,
And
see, she kept making me think of Jessie Jane because of the, not for kids sites that I look at, if you know what I mean.
she sang a song. It was the same song that they sang the first
It's
night.
the same song that Brantley Deckelbeyer sang, and I thought that this one was a good cover of Brantley Deckelbeyer's song, but um,
Anyway, then Triple H came out. Remember Triple H?
yeah, everyone remembers
Triple
Triple
H.
H.
Triple H came out, and what happened was Triple H. Okay, Triple H is like, time to play the game. It's time to play the game. Remember that? And then he came out.
Yeah, we like that.
It's great. They don't play that one usually. It's fine. But he walked, and then what happened was he came out and he looked at everybody, and it said time to play the game, and he looked at everybody, and he was in a suit, and he walked down the ramp, and it was like dun-dun-dun, 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 and then he got on the
I liked it whenever the song restarted because
Right.
it took so long to get down the ramp. But on the second time, yeah, then he leads up to what you're.
Yeah. Well, he had to walk around the ring a couple times. And he had to like hug his kids, and then he had to hug he had to hug the other kids, and then he had to
He had to hug the Susan G. Komen sign.
That's right. He had to do that. And then he got up on the apron, and then he was like, oh, I forgot my water. And then he walked all the way back, and he got the water. And then he got back up on the apron. He said, now I have my water. And he said, look, do you want me to do? And everybody's like, yay. And he was like, I don't know.
I wanted him to do the thing so bad.
That's true. I did. But he looked at them. He's like, I don't know if you really want it bad enough. And they were like, no, we do. We swear. And then he drank the water. Well, he didn't drink it. He put the water in his mouth, and he spit it everywhere. And,
and
then the water got everywhere, and he was
all
like,
over.
right. And then he got in the ring, and I think that's when the song started looping. And then he looked around. And you know what he did?
For some reason.
You know what he did? He got in one corner and he stood in that corner, and then he said, hey, and then everybody went, yay, we love you in this corner. And then he went to the other, and he did that in all of the corners. That's right. And then he had shoes. I think, you know what? I think he had to go backstage to get his shoes, and then he came back out with the shoes. And at this point, the song was kind of looping again. And then he got in the ring and he said, oh, wait, he had to get a microphone. He had to do that, too. He had to go get them. And then he got the microphone.
We had to go all the way back and get the microphone.
That's right. He left the microphone in Gorilla, and he had to come back. So then he had the microphone, and he said, wait, what did he say? Hold on. Did he say anything? He said, I just wanted to come out and say thank you.
He said, "Are you Wrestlemania?"
That's right. He said Wrestlemania, and then the things went off, and then he put his boots down, and then he hugged his family, and
the Susan G. Komen sign.
And then I think he left. Did he leave?
He left, but not in spirit, because he lives in my heart forever. Because he's the game, Triple H. He's the cerebral assassin.
I'm just making sure he left the ring. He wasn't in the ring.
He's the Swiss Superman. He is everything. He's the best there was, is, and could be. Because he's Triple H, the game, the authority.
Right. So at this point, I was hoping that New Day and Ridge Holland and Sheamus would have their match at some point.
Yeah.
But the next match on the show was wait. Gable Stampson was in the crowd, and he waved.
He was in the crowd.
He was. And then the match happened. Okay.
Yeah, and the match had the other Gable guy. And I'm very confused because I used to remember him as Shorty G, and I could remember that all day because he's short, and I like that.
That's true.
But then something that I didn't like was when RK Bro came out.
Right.
They had the snakes on the screen, and that
That's
got me
right.
scared.
My problem with that, I mean, I got excited because it just reminded me of when I bowled a 270 and I hit so many strikes that the snakes. I can't. The snakes came out and they said. All right. The snakes came out and they said the word strike came down. And then the snakes, I think one of them ate the other one. And that's how I knew that I was doing good at bowling. And so for a second, I thought I was bowling. But it turns out that RK Bro was coming down to the ring and there were snakes that were
We
best
just
friends.
had turkeys at our bowling alley. We couldn't afford snakes.
Right. Well, okay, so right, and the Street Profits.
Yeah.
They had cups.
I like those cups. When the cups hit the ramp, that was good.
Yeah,
good cup stuff.
I think one of the
I said that was good cup stuff.
Fuck's sake. Okay, I think I think the best thing about the Street Profits is the cups. I mean, they have cups. I mean, it doesn't get. Mm-hmm. I can't. This is too stupid. Okay, they had a match, and my favorite thing about. Hold on. You know what? This was the most important. This is the most important match in history up to this point, and it was because it was a triple threat tag team match for the Raw Tag Team Championships, and the thing about it was,
they were, because I didn't see the Tag Team Championship belts brought out at any time.
But they showed the 3D belts that they were where the snakes were. Yeah, instead of snakes, there were belts.
See, I was so scared of the snakes that I had my hands over my eyes like this.
Yeah, the problem is they never showed the 3D belts unless I bowled a 300, and that never happened. So I'm still working on getting there. But see,
eventually my hands got so tired of being up here that I pulled the bandage down from my head wound the day before, and I got to put that over until I was sure the snakes were gone.
Right, exactly. Well, so the thing about this match that I got a little.
God, it happened, didn't it?
I got a little lost. Can I ask you questions? Because you know more about WWE than I do. About sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the sports entertainment professor. That's my screen name.
Right. And this is not a criticism, okay? This is just I need it's of course it isn't. Of course it would never be.
I'll burn your house down.
Right, I know. So there were 3 teams, right? Just 3 tags.
Yes. Three. Wait, now you've got me confused because was there 4? Because there was the Chable Gavinston guy. He was there. The whole thing's kind of blending together for me.
I think there were 3 tag.
We'll say 3 for right now.
Okay, there were 3. So my question. Okay, there's 3 tag teams. So. Mm-hmm. So they're supposed to tag to get in the ring, but because there's 3, I think Michael Cole said that they can't be disqualified. There's no disqualifications.
Oh.
So there's no rules, right?
Well, yeah, it got so wild and woolly out there, yeah.
But before that happened, do you remember when Mark Riddle, is that his name? Mark Riddle, the Riddler. He was in the ring and they were hitting his leg and he was crawling. Oh, he's like, Randy, I want to tag you. And Randy was standing there yes, I want to tag you too, but you have to come over here so I can reach you so that I can help.
Yeah, because that's the rules of the match.
Right, but aren't there no rules?
Well, there's no disqualification, but there's still rules. Like, this is where a lot of
What happens if you break the rules, though?
Well, you get a 5 count, okay? And,
Right, but then what? What happens after 5?
Well, no one ever challenges the ref's 5 count. Why would you do that? That's against the rules.
Well, okay, but that was the other. Okay, but that was the other thing I was confused because later in the match they stopped. They were like, well, we don't have tags, so we can do wild crate, But then he didn't count to 5 anymore. He just didn't count.
Well, yeah, because the ref realized how important this match was, because it was the most important match at WrestleMania to happen because it was the most recent.
Right.
And since it was the most recent match at WrestleMania, he gave it the respect it needed.
Okay, so he was being disrespectful at the beginning, but then... Okay.
Yeah, but he straightened up because I'm pretty sure Vincent Kennedy McMahon yelled at him in the earpiece because all WWE employees and superfans like myself have to have an earpiece where Vince McMahon can yell at us at all times.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean... He's
yelling at me right now.
Of course.
And of course I'm listening. I'm always listening.
Uh-huh.
Vince never lets me not listen.
Right. I was just very confused because I didn't know. I thought that they could just, break the rules. Like, I thought they could do that, but they didn't, and then they did.
As I said, that would be against the rules.
I mean, it would definitely be against the rules to break the rules. Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty easy once you think about it. I'm beginning to think this is a criticism of WWE.
No, I wouldn't.
You better not.
Okay, I won't. All right.
I've got a gallon of gas.
Okay, well...
I'm just joshing.
All right.
It's 2 gallons.
Well... Right. Well, the match was stupendous, of course. It was the most stupendous. It was the most stupendous thing I'd ever seen in my whole life. And then RK Bro won. Did RK Bro win?
RK Bro won because it's Randy Orton. He's one of the greatest third generation professional sports entertainers to ever have been.
That's true. Yeah.
They both did. Remember, they both did like the hitting. They both hit the mat.
They did both hit. They hit.
And then I think there was an RK. There was an RKO. It was Randy's.
That's true.
And then, if you remember, the Chable Gadsden guy, he got invited into the ring.
That's right. He came in.
And the Street Profits they were doing cup stuff again.
That's right. Stop. God damn it.
And they wanted him to do cup stuff as well.
That's right. They did want him to do cup stuff, I remember.
And whenever he got in, Shorty G, because I'll always be Shorty G in my heart, he did the thing where he went, shoosh.
That's right. He says shoosh. He says shoosh.
Everyone didn't like that. And then Chable Gadsden, he put the cup down because he was tired of doing cup stuff, and then he threw Shorty G. And that was fun, right? We had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 7 stars? 7? Well, the ref was disrespectful, and that...
Yeah, but it got... Shoosh. You remember the shoosh?
That was after... Alright, it's 7 and 8. 8 stars. 8 stars. That's... It was 8 stars. That's right. It was 8. I forgot.
Oh, man.
I forgot. Forgot about about that.
Yeah, and then next, I'd been looking forward to this. It's the new Andre the Giant.
That's right. Okay, this was the match where the almighty Bobby Lashley came out, and then almost came out, and then the Bobby Mighty Lashley came out, and then
My Bobby.
And then Bobby immediately gave him a suplex and pinned him, right? Is that what happened?
Well, no, almost did the hug, the horse hug, I think it's called.
Yeah, I mean almost definitely was the biggest man I had ever seen in my whole life, and Bobby was the strongest. It was Jerry Lawler. What did Jerry Lawler? It's an unstoppable force meets an immovable object. He said "moo" because it was like, the interrupting cow.
Jerry.
You know, is the
that
it's
darn
so funny.
interrupting cow again.
Yeah, it's so
moo.
Right. Well, I mean, I will always remember when Bobby lifted almost and dropped him. 8.5. Yeah,
that's exactly what I gave it. I
Right,
can't believe this. Twinsies.
Yeah. It was amazing. It was incredible. And then I think I was still like, what about the New Day and Ridge Holland and Shane? Weren't they supposed to?
I was getting a little worried about them at this point.
What happened after that? Is Bobby Lashley and Omos, and then right, Johnny. Well, they had a charity video. They do charity. You know, they do that.
Yeah.
You have to hand it to them.
Yeah,
you have to give it to
for
them.
the kids.
It's for the children and George W. Bush and
Yeah, George W. Bush was there, and that made me feel proud and patriotic. Because he's one of the.
That's true.
Have you seen the paintings he does? Very good president.
That's true. And then the next match was Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn in an Anything Goes match for the Anything Goes match. And
it was great. It was wonderful. Can you believe it? They did jackass things.
They did do jackass. And you know what? All the jackass guys, the jackasses were there. They were all there. And I knew them.
All the jackasses.
I saw them before.
There was Piss Crontius. He was
there.
Right.
Piss Crontius was there. And Little Man was there.
Little Man
guy was there. And then Party Guy was there. And then
Partied Man.
They were there, and Sammy was he didn't like them. He was very scared of them. I think the funniest thing was, it's hard to.
I was laughing the entire time.
Exactly.
It was so fun.
It was so funny. But I think when Party Man, he had like clothes on, but that said Party Man, and he was like dancing. And then he took off the Party Man thing, and he had like a Speedo on, and that scared Sammy. And that scared Sammy because usually he's in the ring with guys who are like in underwear, but they're like fighting. But this man was just dancing, so it's different a little bit.
I could see where Sammy got scared because normally the other person's wrestling, and this one was partying. So
it's scary, you know.
I could see.
Right, and then there were mouse traps and
and he did with the mouse, and then there was the giant mouse trap.
There was a big mouse
now
trap.
That's the WrestleMania moment that I was
That's
waiting
true.
for.
You know,
was the giant mouse trap.
Yeah, when I think of WrestleMania, it's like Flair's Steamboat, Shawn Michaels, Iron Man, Bret Hart, Rock Austin, My Way, giant mouse trap, Sami Zayn for the loss. I think that's really just the sequence. Oh, and of course, almost. I mean, you can't forget about.
Well,
almost. You can't forget about almost, and you can't forget about Rick Boogs. You can't forget about Rick Boogs. You can't forget him. He's always there with you.
He's in my house right now.
So, Johnny Knoxville put him under the mousetrap, and he was pinned, and so Johnny Knoxville won.
Yeah.
And
it was great because Sammy's been such a mean person this entire time.
That's true. He's been awful.
Remember
when he had his phone and he got all those calls? That was really... Why would he do that? But why would Sammy even have a phone like that?
Yeah,
only Sammy, evil people have phones.
Yeah, only evil people. And Sammy, he kept answering the phones in inappropriate ways.
That's right.
Because he was in a bubble bath.
That's right.
And answered the phone. No telling who could have heard what he was doing in the bubble bath on the phone.
Yeah, so Johnny Knoxville, he finally gave that Sami Zayn his comeuppance, and so 8 3/4.
Yeah, easy score right here.
Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
If I could introduce this one.
Oh right, yeah.
This was the greatest women's match at WrestleMania of all time.
That's right, it was. That's right. This was, I didn't think they could do it 3 times. I didn't.
They did it 3 times.
They did it. In a row. They just keep doing it.
This was for the... Do the women have a tag belt, or was this 2 individual belts?
They had belts, and they did that. They did the bowling thing with the belts, and I was like, wait.
Yeah.
So I think they have belts. So I think this was but I mean, it doesn't really matter. The belts are unimportant because this was the greatest women's.
No, the belts are secondary.
It was
compared to the
unimportant.
WrestleMania moment that was had by all of these women.
Right, and also for women dumb and women kind, and I mean, that was the thing is after last night I had said, they're never gonna, women can't go any farther than this, and nevertheless they persisted. They did it. They went out there and they had the greatest women's match of all time, forever and ever. Amen. They did it.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things. If you don't think that this was the greatest women's match of all time for women at WrestleMania, then you just need to get out of here, Buster. Because you're not a WWE fan.
But okay? You know what? Come to think of it, we're men. We're not women. And so we really we shouldn't even talk about it. We shouldn't talk about it. We shouldn't say it. You know what?
It was 8 stars, and that we closed the chapter.
That's right. You know what? We never speak of it again. That's it. So the next match, I don't even know what we're talking. What were we talking about? Because
we
again,
were talking about the most important women's match in wrestling.
Right. We don't need to talk about that because we're men. That's for women to have for themselves and to enjoy, regardless of me or my testosterone fueled ego. That's for them. So it's just for them now.
It's just for them. And it didn't matter who won the match because we all won.
That's true. We did. Won. I won. Well, women won. That women were the real winners.
Well, yeah,
black women.
Black women won.
That's right.
I'm making space and doing accountability for myself, and they won. And wow,
that's true.
That leads us to
right.
The greatest wrestling match that ever, So I'm confused. So someone that was in the greatest wrestling match ever was in this next match. So is this the greatest wrestling match ever part 2 or?
Well, I think the way we should look at this match, because I just want to go off on a tangent here, is I think we should look at this was Edge versus AJ Styles. The mountain of omnipotence, Edge.
The mountain of omnipotence. And he came out with a chair that was surrounded by fire, so I guess that's omnipotent.
That is omnipotent. It had, I think the chair had 7 eyes as well and 13 wings. It did say things to me. That might have been the bowling that I did. I could be wrong. Yeah. But the thing I wanted,
trauma because it was saying for me to do things.
Well, the thing I wanted to highlight and the thing we discussed when we watched the match was the thing that stuck out to me was really the technical presentation that Kevin Dunn brings to the greatest show of all time. Because
I love Kevin Dunn more than my own father.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you? I also love Kevin Dunn more than your father. Right, but what we noticed early in this match is the complexity and depth to the amount of camera angles and just so many different levels of presentation. And it was cinematic is what it was. It was like I was watching a movie.
It absolutely was like watching a movie.
That's right.
An early shaky cam movie.
You know what? That's right, Anthony.
You know what? Lighting.
You know what? That's right, Anthony. That is right. It was like a movie. And so what I wanted to do early in the match, because what happened was I started to realize, I started to see things, while I was watching the match. I saw little things. And I noticed that occasionally, once in a while, Kevin Dunn would switch the camera to tell me something about the match. So what I decided, I said, "Hey Anthony, are you getting the subtle thing that's going on right here? Are you seeing the cinematic? Because look, like we're both fans of the cinema. We've both seen Citizen Kane, for example. And
nope. I only watched the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Well, that has cinema in it. That is clearly the cinema.
It's in the title.
That is. So I said, are you seeing these little details here? And you said yes. And I said, what we should do is just to kind of get an idea of Kevin Dunn's responsibilities and his expertise, we should count how many camera cuts there are in the match. We should go back. We should go watch it again because, it would be great to watch it again anyway because it was amazing.
I would love to watch any of this again.
Exactly. So we counted all the camera cuts. Now, I think we should compare, Anthony. How many camera cuts did you count in the 24 minutes and 27 seconds of Edge versus AJ Styles?
In 24 minutes and 4,700 years of that match that I saw with my eyes, I counted 374 cuts.
That is a lot of camera cuts, Anthony. That's a lot. That's a lot. And that really says something about how much of the match needed to be captured. Now, I think you may have been lowballing it, Anthony. I think you might have gone a little low.
Oh, do tell.
Just a little bit. You said 374. 74. That's crazy because I counted 457 camera cuts in this match, Anthony. 457
I was trying to be nice. I would see things and I thought that I was just making it up.
You weren't making it up, Anthony. It was 450. And by the way, I'm not positive that is correct at all. I said 24 minutes and 27 seconds. Is that correct?
Yes.
Damn, I want to get an average for that. Like per second, you know what I mean?
Gotcha, yeah.
How would I do that? Time averages. 1,467 seconds. So I would divide 1,467 by 457. And that would give me 3.21 cuts per second, Anthony. Kevin Dunn is so genius that he cuts the camera nearly 3 1/3 times a second. He's that ahead of human knowledge and understanding. So anyway, the match was amazing. Do you remember the part where
Yeah, I remember the part.
Yeah, and then he at the mountain of impotence. The mountain of impotence hit the edumacator and he kicked out, and then he hit the he did do that. Yeah. Oh, and then Damian Priest was there.
Yeah, Damian Priest was absolutely there.
I don't know how he got there.
Well,
I think it was during one of the cuts. I think during one of the cuts he walked down, but I missed it because I was counting.
See, he took a step every cut, and so he was able to get there in no time.
Right. And so he was there, and he was looking. He looked in the ring. He was stoic, I guess. And then AJ Styles looked at him and he said, "Who's that?" Even though I think they know each other. I think they've met before.
They had to have met.
They probably fought before at some point. But he said, "Who's that man right over there?"
Yeah.
Across from me. And then regardless of that, actually,
it's Damian.
Yeah, it's Damian. Of course. Who else could it be? And then but the thing is even when he said, "Who is that man?" he said, "Well, I'm going to hit my finisher, I suppose." But then he got speared, which I guess
he got speared.
I guess if you think about it,
I'm thinking about it.
He probably would have got speared anyway. If you think about it.
Yeah, Edge was just cocked it. Fuck. Okay, Bert, I can't do this anymore.
You can't do it.
I can't do this anymore.
You can't do what? What are you talking about?
Jesus Christ, I am dying inside. This is killing a Fuck this. Fuck this.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right, well, we made it an hour and 56 minutes. This show sucked ass.
This is so fucking bad. How can you hogs like this? How can it, this is what's driving me insane. People that, whose opinions I respect have come out and been like, "Oh, wow, WrestleMania was really, really, really good." And, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Night 1 was serviceable at best.
Okay.
At best. Night 2 was a fucking train wreck.
Here's the thing, Anthony. Here's the thing. I mean, I agree with you 100%, but I've come around to what I've come around to realizing about myself is I could watch the show, and I did for a little while. I tried to the whole entire show because I'm suffering anyway, so I might as well make up some fucking reasoning for what I'm doing. And I'll watch it and I'll be like, okay. Ronda Rousey's fighting Charlotte Flair. Mm-hmm. Well, I hate both of these people. and I don't care about the program, and the camera is cutting 11 billion times, and there's 3D bullshit happening on the screen, and Michael Cole is yelling the dumbest shit imaginable into my ears, and the thing is I'll be like, okay, Bert, okay, well, hey, she hit a drop kick, and on some level, on some hypothetical vacuum level, this match is not that bad. And you know what? That's technically true of almost the entire show. Nothing really, most of either night, from just a moves and wrestling perspective, nothing was really that horrible. Even Omos and Bobby Lashley, it was bad, but I'm not writing home about it. It was just kind of there.
Yeah, it is leaving my brain. All I remember is Bobby Lashley did a semi-suplex, and people are treating it like it's the greatest thing on fucking earth.
Yes, but I'm gonna be honest, and I hate to do this type of analogizing because it's reactionary and it happens on Twitter all the time, for example. To me, this is the equivalent of watching, like, to checking the books on the fucking Nazis and being like, wow, they ran a really tight ship. I don't give a shit, okay? The talent, I'm not comparing the talent to Nazis. I'm comparing fucking WWE to this shit because the talent just does what they're supposed to and they do the best they can. And good on them, but
dog bless them.
How the fuck can you boil down? How can you watch 12 hours of this fucking content? Even if you don't watch the pre-show, you watch, what, fucking 8 hours? 8 hours. 2 nights of this slop. This absolute fucking trash of a presentation. And somehow you just boil it down to...
I literally thought Jenny was going to stop being my friend because of this.
Like, that's the thing that I've come to realize is I can understand the mentality of just foregoing everything and focusing on the talent. I can understand you putting on Raw and going to do something. I can even understand you putting on WrestleMania, and every time they show a fucking replay package, you get up and you go do something, you do your crossword, whatever the fuck. But, okay, I have no fucking...
You go wish that your kids were talking to you on Facebook.
Correct. The thing is, I have no fucking respect for you, okay? If you want to try to defend this product, I can't respect you because you're not watching it. Just fucking turn it on. And that's the thing is all these people make fun of AEW and shit. They don't watch it. That's the problem. They don't watch either show. It's just fucking people arguing in a vacuum about shit they don't watch. Because if you fucking watch, if you sit down and have to focus on this shit, it's unbearable. It's the worst fucking bottom of the barrel shit I've ever seen in my life. The craziest thing to me, I know I'm like going off here. The craziest thing to me, so I can do that with the wrestling, right? I can see some of the dirt worst booking, and I've become numb to it. Like, I will watch... I saw Charlotte Flair win with a boot to the face after a ref distraction in the second to last match on Mania, and I said, ha, that figures. You know, I literally laughed at it. I said, well, whatever. The thing is, though, Sasha Banks and fucking Naomi come down to the ring, and then Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan's music hits, and the camera fucking goes in on Sasha and Naomi for 15 fucking seconds, like it's that Royal Rumble where AJ premiered, and they're fucking... I get so mad. It's just...
Like, they have all of these cuts, and then whenever something interesting has happened, they manage to be somewhere the fuck else. Like, if you go back and watch it, like, with actual fresh eyes, I'm begging you, there will be a setup for a moment where it's like, the wrestler is building tension and is about to do something, a dive or something like that. And the camera is so erratic and everywhere, and then we'll focus on the crowd when the move happens and you miss most of it. It's
the other
Mickey Mouse bullshit.
The other thing is, people are going to listen to this and be like, they talked for 2.5 hours about this fucking show, complaining or pretending, whatever. I don't give a shit. But the thing is,
I had fun.
Well, even outside of that, the shit we didn't talk about would surpass how long we've been talking. There were so many fucking replays and hype packages and review packages. This show had nothing on it. It was just, I was constantly being poked and reminded. It was the fucking Duolingo parrot of fucking wrestling. Do you remember when this happened? Do you remember when, literally 5 seconds after every fucking move in every, did you remember when the move happened 5 seconds ago? Like I'm a fucking...
It was Clippy jamming his thumb in my eyes every fucking 5 minutes. When a match was over, you got a hype package for something that already happened. Like, you got reminded, remember whenever this happened? Like, they are so afraid of their own product that they are constantly like, here's the best parts of it. Remember whenever this drop kick happened? Remember whenever they did this dive? They're constantly hoping that you're just going to sit there like just addled, like, ooh, I need something to happen. They don't trust their audience. They are actively insulting. They are insulting you by the product that they are putting out because they think you are a baby. And they're putting out dangling keys.
Or you're 70 plus and you have no fucking attention span anymore.
Yeah, you're just waiting for the fucking last DMT drip before you shuffle off this mortal coil.
Yeah, so, I mean, there was a point in night 2, there were 2 points, they played a hype package, not, I shouldn't say a hype package, like, they played a promotional video for Charlotte Flair and for, God, who was the other one? It doesn't matter, but the point was they had already won their matches. And it wasn't like building up the feud. It was like Charlotte Flair being like, I'm the best and I've won so many times. And that was the whole video. And I was like...
Yeah, it was remember when?
It wasn't even replays of the previous night. It was like a promotional package they made just for Charlotte Flair to show before she had a match. And they played it after she had the match. And it had nothing to do with the program.
No, because the thing is, that was a hype package thing that they had on the pre-show. They showed it on the pre-show in and amongst the Chucky Ducky shit.
Well, this is the perfect time to have this breakdown of our sensibilities because the next match was Sheamus and Ridge Holland defeated Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods in 1 minute and 44 fucking seconds.
Awful.
It was sandwiched between 2 fucking recap packages that I swear to you went like 5 minutes to 10 minutes apiece. And the fucking attendance announcement. What they did to these motherfuckers. Unbelievable. Like,
I'm sorry, with, Xavier coming off of his injury after, like, getting a shit gimmick and getting it the fuck over as King Woods. Like, after he did that, and then the horrible tragedy that was these fucking, like, I'm very loath to ever, like, make fun specifically of the talent. I'll make fun of their, like, booking and the way their characters are, but they're ultimately being told. But this is a specific thing on Ridge Holland. And also, like, this is backed up by Randy Orton talking about the people from NXT. Yes, Randy Orton talks shit a lot, but I've never heard him, like, talk shit about, like, specifically an entire group of people's like wrestling abilities. Did you hear about Randy Orton talking about the NXT people?
Yeah, I did hear about that.
He essentially says they are unsafe and they are horrible to work with because they will just knock your fucking block off. And here's Ridge Holland, who nearly or could possibly have taken away the career of beloved Biggie. Everyone loves Biggie because he is a good human being and he did everything in his fucking power to be a good champion for them, doing all the media scrums, everything. He loaded his schedule up doing nothing but promoting WWE. And then, oh, sorry, brother, you gotta lose it to fucking Borg. You gotta lose it to Borg. And not only that, just a few weeks later, some fucking dipshit asshole from like, I'm pretty sure Ridge Holland is just like a former football player who has had minimal training, goes out there and breaks his fucking. That is sad. That is absolutely sad. And like, the thing is, I've looked at it and like, he nearly hurt Johnny Gargano in several spots. And say what you will about Johnny Gargano, you may like him, you may not. He is one of the safest workers around. Yeah. Like, he's easy to work with. That's why everyone loves working with Johnny. Like, and somehow this fucking galumphing idiot manages to nearly hurt Johnny Gargano. And then puts Big E in the hospital. Like, come the fuck on. This is the most disrespectful shit.
Even outside of that, they sandwiched this between the first fucking recap was a hype package for the fucking match where they showed the dude getting injured. Unfucking godly that they would show this fucking spot and make it an angle. Then they come out in Big E fucking tribute gear and they go 1:44 where they rush through every single fucking spot they were supposed to do, and the New Day lose unceremoniously in fucking less than 2 minutes. Yeah. And all anybody gives a shit about is Butch, who I don't... What? Why? Who gives a shit? He's running around on the outside. He's not even in the match. He did nothing.
Like, and I get what they're trying to do with his character of being like, oh, he's so unhinged, he's ready to hurt people. Like, whoopty fucking shit. Like, that's the thing, like, whenever you condense the match down to that, where, like, Butch is running around trying to just get in the match, the holes really start to fucking show, and the gimmick just has nothing to it. It's bad. Like, some things just don't translate into a wrestling angle or thing. It's bad.
Yeah, and then, I mean, they showed a video of Cody Rhodes' return. I've already seen it. Undertaker came back out on the stage and did the entire same thing. God. I am not kidding you. When for a second, we all thought it was like, we were like, are they literally just showing a tape of the same thing? But it wasn't. They literally did the exact same entire thing. They did 2 commercials. Then they did a video package for Pat McAfee.
They're doing commercials in the thing you're paying for.
Like, it baffles me that's the thing, is people I like and respect and listen to are like, wow, WrestleMania was really great. Listen, if you want to qualify it and say, like, the wrestling at WrestleMania was pretty fine. Do whatever you're going to do. Like, but don't bullshit me and say the show was good. But they're running fucking commercials on a show you pay for. Some of the commercials are for the fucking show. They run packages about the previous night. They have the same thing on both nights. Like, it's offensive. I'm sorry.
They could have put the entire thing in one night, I think.
100%. And they wouldn't have they didn't even have to cut matches. 100%. I could have fucking reconfigured this show to be in one night. It'd probably be like 4 hours.
Because you know what? I would have cut 15 minutes off the Edge and AJ Styles fucking schlog fest.
Not only that, I can guarantee you I would have had more matches because I would have put fucking matches on the pre-show. These fucking geniuses. They had 2-hour pre-shows, 4 hours of content with no wrestling. I am not shitting you. It's unbelievable.
And the thing is, like, don't let anyone lie to you. The reason they are putting, like, a 2-hour pre-show is so that they can put it on paper that it's a value add for their fucking streaming service. That's the only fucking reason.
Exactly.
Like, don't lie and say, oh, they're trying to give you the best experience. This whole thing is smoke and mirrors, and it is fucking insulting to you. The fact that you are viewed as a content hog. You are nothing but a hog to them, and they are doing nothing but giving you slop so that they can get your fucking money from them, to them. It's awful. It's fucking awful.
Yeah, so the next match... We're just going to tear apart the next few matches, because there's no point in pretending anymore.
Yeah, no.
The match, again, the wrestling portion of the first part of the next match, that's how many clarifiers I have to put in place to make any of this make sense, was pretty good. Everything else was dumb as shit.
I would put it as, honestly, the wrestling itself fair to middling.
Yeah. It was... The thing was, this is the classic WWE thing. The next thing was Pat McAfee versus Austin Theory. So, the angle's stupid, and I don't know why I'm supposed to give a shit. The entire point was they were teasing Vince versus Pat, so then they didn't announce that for the show. Keeping in line with the whole show of, like, Kevin Owens and Stone Cold, they didn't announce that shit because they have no idea how to fucking promote. I don't know what the deal is with that. But Pat McAfee...
It's literally because they couldn't get anyone nailed down for anything.
I believe that, actually.
The thing is, Stone Cold, the reason he has not wrestled or he's done like spotty appearances here and there on wrestling is because he does not want to fuck up his legacy.
Right.
Like, and that is understandable. He is extremely protective of it, and I get it. And the thing is, he knows he can't quite go, so, like, he had to be assured and given someone that is a big fan, and that is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, who could, like, give him every assurance that he wasn't going to go out there and try and go into business for himself, because Stone Cold is paranoid as fuck. And, you know, like, Stone Cold has literally said, like, in the past, like, I'm afraid that if I go out there, someone will try and, like, upstage me, make me look foolish to make themselves look bigger. I don't think that's necessarily the case, because most people are just more professional than that.
Right.
And plus, they love Austin, but Austin came up from a time where that shit was common. And so, yeah, he's been very protective of it. And so it was probably a lot to get Austin to agree.
Well, I know in Austin's case, I've already heard that he was, like, literally up to the last minute. He was like, I might wrestle. That was literally the agreed upon thing for him. But Vince McMahon, he runs the fucking company. I think he can figure out if he wants to have a match or not and wants to promote it. Like, it's so stupid. I think the reason they did it, I know the reason they did it, actually. It's because the payoff was Austin stunning McMahon, and if Austin wasn't going to wrestle, then they couldn't have Vince work the match. That's why. But the problem is that fucked up the entire promoting for the entire show. Anyway, Pat McAfee fought Austin Theory.
It was a nothing match until one spot.
You know, I really appreciate... The thing I appreciate about Austin Theory is that I you know how, like, Macho Man was really committed to his gimmick and he would constantly do that? I appreciate Austin Theory's commitment to the gimmick of alleged pedophile with the haircut and the...
Yeah.
Okay. That's ragging a little hard, but fuck this dude.
I don't give a shit. The
come on now.
Motherfuckers sent goddamn nudes to a 13-year-old, allegedly.
Yeah,
like,
but
fuck him. I don't care.
I'm just saying it doesn't help matters that his character is annoying as all fucking get out. And, like, he's getting upstaged in the ring by Pat McAfee. Now, the thing is, this is, okay, if you boiled it down to just wrestling and Pat McAfee was just a dude, this match wouldn't have been anything. It would have just been a match, and it'd be fine, but, like, it's like you said, middling. The reason anybody cared was because he's not a wrestler, and he's doing stuff that's impressive for not a wrestler. So
yeah,
that's fine in, like, terms of, like, booking and ideas. And he won, and honestly, up till that point, I was like, cool, I'm fine with it.
It was fun. It was like, okay, yeah, this is fun. I appreciate that. Like, the high spot of the entire thing was, like, Austin Theory was perched on the top turnbuckle. McAfee got up there. Austin Theory knocked him off. And then McAfee leaped up there and did a very impressive looking, like, superplex or whatever.
Yeah, and he did a backflip onto his feet from the top.
Yeah, he did a backflip onto his feet. I'd like that. Fine.
It's fine. Now, the problem is Vince came out. And, you know, everybody will say this was a good bit of fun. And you know what? At the end it was.
Yeah.
But Vince McMahon, in his fucking 70s, came out here and buried this motherfucker so far beneath the earth. Listen, he made Pat McAfee sell for him and for a fucking foam football, okay? I haven't seen shit like that since WCW when people were throwing hats at each other and fucking selling for it. Like, that was the finish to a sanctioned Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee. They went, listen, the New Day and Ridge Holland and Sheamus went not even 2 minutes. Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon went 3 minutes and 44 fucking seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Why? All that should have happened, like, literally, I could write this in my sleep. Vince gets in the ring, says, "I'll fight you, Pat McAfee." They look at each other, and Stone Cold comes out.
McAfee says, "Make it a no disqualification match." And then...
Or Vince just is cocky and says, "It's no DQ. Ring the bell."
Yeah.
And then Stone Cold comes out. Easiest thing in the whole universe. Like,
but instead people throw around the word bury and they don't understand what the fuck it means. Bury does not mean just losing.
No.
Being buried means that you are made to look like a fucking fool, and that doesn't mean, like, if one wrestler loses to another in a normal match, oh, they're buried. You're fucking stupid if you think that.
Yeah, no.
Vince McMahon made this dude lose too, after seeing, like, these, like, amazing athletic things that Pat McAfee has done. And the crowd is like, "Oh, wow, this is pretty cool. You have a future, like, ringer for something you could bring in later for another celebrity act." But instead of that, Vince McMahon kicks a football lightly into Pat McAfee's ribs, and Pat McAfee has to fucking stare at the lights for a 3 count. That is burying. That is absolutely burying this man underneath the fucking crust of the earth and letting him burn in the magma.
Yeah, I don't even like Pat McAfee. I mean, I thought he did some okay moves, and he was clearly over, but I thought he was annoying as shit, if I'm being honest. Losing all of your money and dying of starvation and in destitution is more of the showcase of the mortals, whereas WrestleMania is the showcase of the immortals, you see.
I don't deserve to live.
No. We took an intermission for a recap package.
Yeah, we did. We did a fucking recap package. God, I'm gonna do that, actually.
Please do. Just five fucking seconds ago, what we were just talking about.
Jeez.
I already forgot. Okay, so Vince, right, he buried Pat McAfee. Oh, I was talking about how I don't like Pat McAfee. I mean, he's...
buried him underneath the fucking core of the earth.
Right. I don't like him, but I would never... I felt bad for the dude. Let's put it that way. And that's saying something. Then Stone Cold came out and he gave him the worst stunner of all time, Vince. And I mean,
now, admittedly, that was very funny.
It is funny.
But, like, come on. Like, and the thing is that kills me is, like, this is literally, hey, you remember this? Hey,
yes.
You remember this? And it's literally for the hogs. Like,
yeah. I also...
Like, you remember whenever you were young and didn't have to worry about your, bitch wife, your horrible kids that won't talk to you. Remember whenever Stone Cold was just throwing the finger and doing his thing? Wasn't that a great time?
Yeah, I get that that it was very funny that Vince took the worst stunner of all time. But also, why fucking bother? Like, I don't. I'm gonna be. I get if you are that entertained, great for you. But I don't give a shit. I don't need to see it happen again. And Vince is a million fucking years old.
Especially whenever it's something that, like, you could just see on social media passed around.
Exactly.
Like, you had to sit through, at this point, I think, close to the 5-hour mark, 5.5-hour mark to see this. Like, you have... Like, we're doing art because we're doing a podcast, and a podcast should be respected at all times.
Mm-hmm.
These people, like, those people, if you had to sit there and take away those precious moments of your life because you enjoy this, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you must really enjoy talking to the fucking dude who changes your oil. That must be the high point of your fucking month. Like, ooh, 3,000 miles. I'll go talk to Johnny down over at Jiffy Lube. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you are literally looking for, like, anything. Oh my God, it's sad.
Well, I have good news.
Yeah.
The show is almost over.
Thank fucking Christ.
But before the show can end, they re-aired Bianca Belair's entrance. They aired a commercial for next year's WrestleMania. They had a video package
for next year's WrestleMania.
Next year, they had a video
lasted longer than the match between the New Day, Ridge, Break Your Neck Holland, Butch, and Sheamus.
Yep. There was a video package for the main event. They had all the entrances. It went on for fucking ever. This was, quote unquote, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. Winner takes all, unification, titles, whatever the fuck they're talking about. This is
what all WWE programming can focus on, both on SmackDown and Raw. Mm-hmm. This is the only thing that they have, like, been hyping and promoting other than randomly teasing Cody Rhodes. This is the most important fucking thing. I want to stress this.
Here's a good question.
Yeah?
Why is it important?
Because they're unifying the title.
I think the title is already... Like, isn't that the whole reason they have a universal title? Because it's already unified? They unified that title with the big gold, with the world title back, like, in 2014. It makes no sense. They want to say they want to unify the Raw Championship and the... That's the problem, is they have two belts that the lineage makes no sense. And they're not giving you any information about what the fuck this unification means. None of it has anything to do with it.
That's something like, what are the stakes? What does the unified title get you? What does that mean for the company?
Yeah, the belts...
What does that mean for, like, the people going after it?
Yeah, the two belts have been put on the same level for years. They just have two title belts. So, what's the point? Like, they're uniting the two title belts into one belt, but they're the same anyway. So, there's also the fact that Roman and Brock, like, they've already had two matches that were not great. I understand why people like the first one, but I mean, you're wrong. The only reason anybody cares about that match is because Seth ran in and fucked everything up. The second match, everybody hated. Like, everybody hated that fucking match. So,
yeah, because it was exactly the same as the first match, just minus Rollins. Like,
exactly.
people have just memory hold it where they're like, I watched it live.
Right.
I watched it live, and I was watching WWE, and that's all I was watching, and it was dog shit. It was bad.
Yeah. So there's no reason for me to get excited at all for this match. And this is just me doing the classic. Hey, it turns out I was right. Here's what really let me down. Because we were talking about Wrestle Talk before this. Listen, I love Wrestle Talk. I love you guys. Okay. Yeah. One of the first things I did after the show was check Twitter because I hate myself. And literally every comment about the show, the main event was, well, that sucked. That came out of nowhere. Yep. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Why did that happen? Okay.
Yep.
Nobody gave a shit. And I went over to the Wrestle Talk like live reactions and just played it back. They didn't. They were like, that was a good match. I don't know what fucking planet you guys are on. I really don't. If you can watch, especially if you can do a live reaction to this whole, maybe you guys just watch enough of this shit where you're desensitized. But like,
yeah, I haven't watched like an entire show of WWE since last year at WrestleMania, because I do that every year in order to like take the temperature, because I've watched WWE all of my life. It is like a big part of me, but I'm not going to like something that like does not like me back. Like, I'm not going to enter into like a horrible fucking strange relationship with my media. It's just not going to happen. And so, like, I've been seeing AEW programming. I've been seeing, I saw the Supercard of Honor. I've been watching a lot of indie wrestling. And like, the thing is there is indie wrestling taking place that has much better fucking presentation and technical quality than anything on this show.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
It sucks. It's bad. And no one is talking about the 3D graphic that they use for Roman and The Undertaker is the same model. It's the same bad, terrible model.
Look, like, we watched Stardom's last show. We haven't even seen the whole thing yet. And because it was a 2-night event. And guess what? Like, the production by Stardom standards is not good. And it's still 8 billion fucking times better than this billionaire fucking company show.
It's legible. Like,
I don't even speak the same language. I can understand what the fuck is going on. Okay?
Yeah.
And
another thing with it is, we've got people that haven't been watching wrestling as long. And so some of the things are still like foreign to them. And the thing is, they can watch Stardom and absolutely follow along and see what's going on. And in WWE, several times, like, granted, people were like, hopefully keeping their sanity and doing something else, doing some Final Fantasy rating or something. But they were like, what the fuck is going on? Because every time they turned back, it was like watching an all new thing. It was like, it was like seeing the Lament configuration, like, twist itself out every time, because people were all of a sudden in way different places because there's 16 camera cuts going on, and it's like looking through the facet of a jewel. It sucks. It's bad.
Yeah. Briefly, I want to go back to that fucking experiment because we watched Styles versus Edge, and literally 10 seconds in the match we're like, this is unwatchable. It is so fucking, and this was the match I was like most excited for on the card. I was like, I can't fucking watch it because they cut so many times. And the funny thing is we said before the pod, we're going to go back, we're going to rewatch it, and we're just going to each count how many fucking cuts. And at times it was like, I was being attacked just trying to count them, not even focusing on the match. And the thing we both noticed very quickly is every time there's a, quote, big move in the match, they do a replay 5 seconds later.
Yeah.
And this was, like, actively offensive to me. Because, not just because they do it, but because the replays don't have all the fucking cuts in them.
Yeah, the replays are completely legible to the human mind.
So, it's like there is a version of these matches that is just cut normally, and it's perfectly fine, and
they're keeping it from us.
Only use it for replays. Unbelievable. Like, I got so mad again. Like, I was so mad. And anyway, this match, the thing about this is that it was 12 minutes and there were 6 moves in it among both people, like, collectively.
And it's the same fucking shit.
It's the same thing.
Same shit.
And people want to get on, listen, I get why people want to get on Brock, okay? But Brock was the only person, like, I don't like it because it's the same Brock match. But fuck's sake, like, Roman is supposed to have changed. I haven't seen anything from Roman since I left, okay? And I left during big dog shit fucking Roman times, okay? Awful fucking babyface Roman, awful bullshit, okay?
I'm not a good guy.
That shit.
Bad guy. I'm the guy.
So all I've heard about for fucking 2 years is how great Roman Reigns is. They turned him heel and he's excellent and amazing.
His promos are on a next level.
This motherfucker comes out, wastes so much time on the ramp, gets his mic, says, WrestleMania, acknowledge me. Wow, dude. Amazing. Like, who is impressed by this? The lowest common denominator. And then he has a match and it's worse than when he was a babyface. I swear to you with every fiber of my being, because at least when he was a babyface, he did the drive-by. He did a Samoan drop. He did anything else. This fucker did nothing. He did 2 moves.
Spear, big dog, spear.
That's all. I don't count a low blow as a fucking move. And that's the best part. The motherfucker did a low blow and a belt shot because he ran out of moves to do after he did 2 of them. 5 minutes into the match. I have never seen somebody so fucking exposed. Like, yeah, embarrassing. And nobody, I haven't heard a single person talk about it. It's just the big, the head of the table won at WrestleMania and finally got, what gives a shit? This guy's embarrassing. He's so bad. So bad. He's not even bad. He just has nothing. It's pointless.
He's smoke and mirrors. Whoa. And on top of that is, if this is true, he somehow got injured in that match. And that's why it went home so fast.
Supposedly got injured in the Kimura. Supposedly.
Like, how the fuck do you get injured in a fucking working move like that? Like, come on.
I think it's more likely he injured himself in the botched spear to the back. He botched one of his only fucking 2 moves.
Yeah.
And it looked like shit. Yeah.
It looked like shit. It was bad. He's possibly injured going into, now he has to literally carry the 2 brands, because WWE hasn't fucking told me what the unification means, but to me, that means you're going to be wrestling on both shows.
No.
You're going to be putting the shit on your back. Like, in a normal promotion, that's what it would mean. You are going to be the workhorse. And now he has to do that nursing a fucking shoulder injury that he got because he fucking either botched a move or Brock somehow just instinctively broke his arm in the Kimura. Cheese and fucking crackers. get yourself together.
Look,
put on a fucking shirt.
That's my thing is I give the talent on this show a lot of credit on this fucking Fed, but like this dude has been pushed to the moon for a fucking decade now. Like almost a decade. He's been pushed with a fucking rocket. He's on the top now. They brand this thing as the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. They're going to unify the belts. He's getting his big win against Brock. And this is the fucking match he has?
Wow.
This dude, like, people rag on Ronda for not giving a shit. Rightfully so. But I have no reason to believe this dude gives a fuck about anything. Like,
no, it was nothing.
He did nothing. And in the quote unquote biggest match of his career, he did. You know what? The only time I remember him doing about as much was the fucking Taker match, and that was just as bad. It might have been worse, but like that was also the biggest match of his fucking career at the time. What is the dude's problem? Like, he's just not good.
Like, he just chokes. And the thing is, even if that is not the case, even if Roman comes out in a couple of months or a couple of years and is like, nah, they were just telling me, my producers were telling me what to do, and that's what Vince wanted. Like, it sucks. I could look at that on paper as a semi-trained wrestler. Look at that on paper and go, this match sucks. Why didn't you? Why didn't you fight? Because this is you. This is your livelihood that you're talking about. This is your, like, longevity in professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Why didn't you protect yourself and be like, this match sucks. Let's add some stuff. Let's take away the 10 fucking spears. Like, and that's the thing. Every Brock match has been, you do your big move to Brock. You do your big move to Brock. He does a big move to you. Everything stops for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks. I hate that. And this is the thing. I'm not a big fan of Brock. I've come a little bit around on him and everything, thanks to you talking about it. And then, you know, cuddly cowboy Brock is actually pretty fucking funny.
Yeah. I liked him cutting his own promo at the beginning. I like that. But
Brock was not the problem in this match.
No.
And that is me saying.
Yeah.
It was not Brock. Maybe he was just being told to do. But Brock also, like, did you hear the stories coming out of the fucking Royal Rumble?
No.
Like, people have talked about that, about how, like, the Royal Rumble was, like, a big mess, and, like, the producers were talking, trying to get the match set up and everything. It was a big clusterfuck. Finally, the match was set, and Brock is, you know, out there doing his thing. And Brock just all of a sudden started doing what he wanted. Like, he started eliminating people out of order. He started eliminating people that he wasn't supposed to eliminate. Like, it was insanity. And there's Brock having the time of his life. Dog bless him, I guess. I mean, fuck. But people were like sitting there going, oh shit, is Brock doing this for real? And so, like, Brock will do what he wants.
Yes.
And so the thing is, it speaks bad on Brock because he allowed this shit to happen. Which,
yeah,
I really think the injury happened and it's real and it made him go home, because Brock ain't going to go out like he went out looking like a bitch. And that is number one rule of Brock Lesnar, is never look like a bitch.
Yeah, he's supposed to have some big address tonight for everybody. I don't know. I'm not watching Raw. You're fucking nuts if you think I'm watching Raw.
No, absolutely not. No, fuck God.
But like, yeah, this was a wet fart of a main event that was advertised as the biggest main event of all time. I mean, I never believed it for a second. I thought it would at best be the best of the third matches they've had, which would still be like okay, like pretty good, but not even
That was
close.
the thing. It wasn't even funny like the greatest wrestling match ever was, because it was so ostentatious and dumb
Yeah.
that it was like, you couldn't help but laugh at it until you're 30 minutes deep in the motherfucker and they're just like staring at each other playing tiddlywinks.
Yeah.
Like, motherfucker, that was the dregs, and this somehow turned out to be worse.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a wet fart. It sucked. It was bad. And the thing is like, I know we did our little spiel for the whole show. Honestly, the first night, only wrestling wise, was okay. It was some of it was pretty good. Bianca Becky, Cody and Rollins wasn't bad. It was at least something. Charlotte and Ronda was middling, and then KO and Austin was fun. The problem is the show was fucking unbearable to watch. Unbearable. And
WWE hates you.
Yeah. So you have to claw through. You have to just the shit you have to deal with to get to anything resembling like a nice moment or a fun thing to watch. It's I don't know how anybody does it. And like I said, I don't mean that in like more power to you. I mean that in like I have no respect for your ability to do it. Like you are hurting yourself. So
I mean, literally people are mowing, like my joke about mowing your lawn and watching through the window, that's what they're fucking doing. That's how they're consuming this. They just have it on. They're like, "Oh, it's Monday, time for this."
Yeah. So my thing with that is like to me it's like if I was like a food critic and somebody wants me to talk about fucking McDonald's.
Well, it's not just that. It's someone saying, "I want you to talk about a fast food restaurant that is like, no, this fast food restaurant is really good. Like, you won't believe how good this fast food restaurant. It defies fast food expectations." And then you go in there and it's like half of what you get is like serviceable. It's good. It's like, yeah, this is a good burger. I could see that. And then right in the middle of it for like your dessert, they just give you a fucking cup full of nuts. And they're just like, "Here, have at it."
Yeah. But I agree, but my thing about that is that the conversation that's constantly had in the internet wrestling community and online and all these spaces is WWE versus AEW, like which wrestling is better. Look, they shouldn't even be in the conversation because this is not wrestling. It has no resemblance to what I'm watching every week or Stardom or NJP, anything. ROH, fucking GCW, I don't care what any of it that is actual wrestling has no fucking bearing on this shit. So that's the thing is that people who watch the show, I'm glad you like it, but you have no place to like talk. Like you're not involved in this community as far as like
if that is the only point of reference you have is WWE as far as wrestling goes, your opinion does not matter.
Yeah, I dismiss you outright. And that's a lot of times that's why I dismissed like the so-called journalists who covered WWE shit, cuz like to me it's like that's not wrestling. I mean, it's fine for them. They can do whatever they want, but like it's irrelevant to me because I want to watch wrestling. So this shit is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry if it comes off, harsh or like, oh, we're gatekeeping or whatever, but like, if you are a casual like WWE fan who's like, well, I like what I like, okay, fine. But if you are someone who like gets on the internet and talks about how like WWE is better than AEW or whatever the fuck you're going to like spout on about, making WWE out to be like the greatest thing on earth, you're a fucking dumbass and you should never be listened to. You shouldn't be taken seriously. You're like a child that is sitting there telling us about your day. No one cares. No one really wants to listen. And eventually the child just starts making stuff up to try and get your attention. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, and as far as gatekeeping goes, I mean, look, if you watch this shit and you have an actual interest in wrestling, then by all means, go watch AEW.
I'm begging you, go watch something else.
Please.
I mused several times to everyone. I was like, what if you got like a regular WWE fan who wasn't like internet poisoned and wasn't like just wild, and they had never been exposed to any other kind of wrestling, and you showed them like Stardom?
Yeah.
Like, what would that reaction be? And I hope the reaction would be, wow, this is really good. I want to check this out. Because as a fan of wrestling, and this is another thing that WWE does that, like, specifically gets in my fucking craw, is they talk about only their product. Mm-hmm. It is a vacuum. That is it. Nothing else. And everything else is seen as lesser. Right. And as a, like, wrestling, like, semi-historian, someone who loves the art of pro wrestling, like, that denies the different styles of wrestling that there are. That denies, like, all of the people that are out there, like, breaking literal new ground and doing different things. It denies the hard work of the people that are absolutely, like, killing it behind the scenes to make a product that is watchable, enjoyable, and legible to someone. Like, it invalidates everything that other companies are doing in the most horrible way. And if you like pro wrestling, you should not like WWE.
Yeah, that's my thing, is it's not gatekeeping, it's just literally qualifying. Like, this shit does not qualify as wrestling. That's not like what you watch isn't wrestling. So it's not gatekeeping. It's like, that's like if I'm a food critic and I fucking eat real food and you want to talk about McDonald's, you're disqualified from the conversation because we're not talking about we're talking about shit. So like just, I don't know. I'm just done, like, dealing with these people, because after watching this, it was like, I was not gonna...
I gave it a fair shot as well, but no, it's bad, and if you enjoy it, you should feel bad.
I mean, you're probably over 70 or under 7, so, I mean... Yeah. Do with that what... If you're under 7, go watch AEW instead.
Yeah, please.
It'll be better for your life.
Watch the AEW fucking Gorefest matches. Nothing but.
100%.
Like, that's the thing. I was watching, like, NWA Bloodfest whenever I was young. I turned out fine. I'm great. I watched Predator whenever I was 6. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. I'm doing a podcast. I'm living my best life. I have no headboard.
Right, exactly. So... WrestleMania 38, the most stupendous 2-night event in WrestleMania history. My review, it's not the worst one ever, and that is not high praise. Because that... Yeah, something I realized thinking about the show, because every time I see a WrestleMania, it's for the past, like, 10 years, it's been like, well, it wasn't the worst one. And I started to realize that tells you more about WrestleMania and WWE than it does about the show. There's a lot of fucking shitty WrestleManias, because it turns out the product sucks. It's bad.
It took so many times to get it in my brain what WrestleMania number this was.
38.
I was just like, yeah, it's 38, but
yeah. So it was awful. Terrible.
It's terrible. And like I said, you know, like, there are people that I respect their opinions on wrestling who have said, oh, this was very good, and I can only attribute it to you were probably watching it with a bunch of your friends and really drunk and, like, slagging it off at times, which, if you're doing that with your buds, it makes it a very tolerable experience.
We tried doing that. We tried.
We did that. Jennifer probably doesn't want to be my friend anymore. Like, I probably lost a friendship because of this.
It was painful.
The WWE is to blame.
Yeah, it was painful, and it wasn't even the worst one. Like, I really want to put that in perspective, that, like, this was one of the better, I mean, not better Manias. It was not in the lower echelon, and it was painful to get through. Like, yeah. I would really love to see in 10 to 15 years, people go back to these things and try to rewatch them and just go, what the fuck? Why the fuck was this? Like, you look back on things from like WrestleMania 9 now and you laugh at them. That is not even anywhere near the level of this shit. Anywhere near it. Like, they had a WrestleMania in Caesar's parking lot in Las Vegas. And
someone rode an elephant backwards or a camel backwards.
I am telling you, in comparison to this show, amazing. I would watch WrestleMania 9, one of unequivocally the worst WrestleManias. I would watch that over this like 10 times in a row. It'd probably be the same length of time. Like, unbelievable.
We might have to do that at some point, because I've only heard of WrestleMania 9 being really bad. Like, I was watching is WCW at that point. I was watching WCW because it depended on what wrestling my dad was watching, and he preferred the WCW NWA stuff at that time because it was too fucking hokey.
The thing is, Anthony, is the wrestling is bad, and the storylines are bad, and the booking is bad. But at least it's fucking watchable.
Yeah.
And not 10 hours, 12 hours long. It's like 3 to 4 hours. The camera stays in the same fucking place. And it's stupid. But, like, I can watch it and pay attention to it without feeling like my brain is going to collapse in on itself.
Watching this WrestleMania just made me tired. Ugh. But
anyway, that's us. So 10 stars.
My wife is currently begging me to eat dinner.
10 stars. I'm Bert.
I'm Anthony. Don't
you.
Watch this stuff.
Don't watch it. Hit my music.
Oh. I'm not even doing it this time. I don't care. That's how depressed this has made me.